Welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and we're here to do this. We're gonna do this crap right here. We're gonna talk about the Blackwoods and the Brackens. And I've been very busy, so I'm scrambling to get everything ready. And I almost forgot guests, but I did. I got a couple of them. I got a few guests. Let's see if anyone want to come on to talk about Blackwoods or Brackens. Let's ask the dude in his kitchen, coming live from a guy in his kitchen. Hi, Rust.
What's up, everybody?
Do you want to talk about Blackwoods and Brackens?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Blackwoods and Brackens.
Perfect. We're one for
those
one.
Guys, those guys hated each other.
All right. Then we have a couple other, and I also want to say these people are also in a kitchen, and I didn't have that joke planned until now. Although one of them isn't there, but whatever. It's just a bunch of nerds live from a kitchen.
Whoa, we're in the same place.
Oh, look at this.
And we're playing Texas Hold'em.
Okay.
Sharing the headphone is so adorable.
We made it work.
I'm not used to Russ being next to me. Let's change this here.
Is there a way we can get the Hold'em game in?
Oh, I was going to give you forehead kisses, man.
I like it when you're below me. No offense.
Here's the cards if anybody wants to tell us whether we should stay or not.
Want to follow along.
All right. Well, let's get this going. We are here to talk about. Oh yeah, you're here right away. We're here to talk about Blackwoods and Brackens. Welcome to the live stream. We're going to be going for a few hours. I have everything I could find for both houses. Literally a list of every known Blackwood, a list of every known Bracken, which is a much smaller list, and I pretty much combined all their history from the Dawn Age all the way up, or the Age of Heroes all the way up. So I didn't know how we were going to do this. So I kind of just like brought everything. You know? Like I figured I wouldn't screw up if I brought all of it. How are you guys?
Oh, I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite topics, and I just love this stream.
It's such a fun little niche part of George's world that he's built that he clearly cares a lot about, because no matter when there's a conflict, there's Brackens and Blackwoods going at each other, like it's the Patriots and the Bills, or the Bills and the Chiefs, or the Bills and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Or the Bills and other Bills fans.
Yeah,
or the Bills and folding tables.
I also like how absolutely like in each camp, each like commenter like the fandom is, because like you'll literally hear people like dig like feet in the sand of Bracken or Blackwood in comment sections, and it's like really funny how serious people take it. Like of course there's like, you know, actual Bittersteal who shows up, but yeah. Hey Christy. And Shables. I didn't say hi to the Elgromancer yet, so there you go. Yeah, all right, we already got a Blackwoods. So we got one person declaring Blackwood, and I'm assuming Aegon, because he is a Bracken, is declaring Brackens.
Clothing Bracken.
Dang, Brackens. Well, he's barely a Bracken. And we do have a slide on those great bastards as well, just so you know, if we want to count them. I think we should. Running a bit late, we will get another person here. So before we get too productive, because I hate when that happens. Dude, I hate it when that happens.
Less productive.
We're really good at that.
Phenomenal. We can derail this for a full 30 minutes.
And we're in the same place, so there's no delay. We can just bounce right off each other.
I want to remind everybody that if we will bring up comments, but if you want to make sure something is noticed and answered, send in a super chat. And also, if you want to donate but you don't want to do it through super chat, I have my PayPal link in the description. And before we go, I want to make fun of the two guys still on the screen by calling them this.
It's not an insult to us.
I thought it would be fun to finally be topical. Like I wouldn't have to like find a reason to use my weird clips if I just made them about my guests.
That's
So-
good. That's a good idea.
But I overloaded and Michael talks about ones and he's not here. so just these are gonna go to the wayside.
Is it true?
Is it true, Michael?
Just going to waste. All right. Yeah, I don't need you guys to help me with derailing.
No, we can derail it. I mean, you're like the wonderful thing about any live stream is it's so easy to derail it. You can just start like going completely off topic.
All right. Who do we want to talk about first? Blackwoods or Brackens?
Gotta be the Blackwoods.
All right. Ha-ha. Screw you, Aegon. All right. House Blackwood. House Blackwood of Raventree Hall is an old house from Raventree Hall in the Riverlands, one of the main families sworn to House Tully Riverrun. They once ruled the Riverlands as kings during the Age of Heroes. House Blackwood rules over wider domains and can field a much larger army than their overlord, House Tully. Multiple Blackwoods have been described as slender, and they have black hair. They also are really tall. I think I say that later. Some Blackwoods are buried in village cairns, while others are buried beneath the gigantic redwood they got in Raventree Hall. It is often simply just called Raventree. It is the seat of House Blackwood in the Vale. What? Blackwood Vale, not in the Vale. House Blackwood in Blackwood Vale. There you go, in the Riverlands. Their castle is located north of Riverrun, southwest of Old Stones, and west of Fairmarket. You guys all know where that is? I drew an X. Iron Man's Bay is northwest. Raventree Hall is high ancient stone walls with moss climbing on them. There are two huge square towers flanking. You know what? I'm just going to... It's a big castle. I don't know why I added all this.
It's a castle.
Contains a giant dead ancient werewood of colossal.
That is a dense paragraph.
Yeah, sorry.
That is a dense 3 paragraphs.
I have 19 slides of this. Every evening at dusk, hundreds of ravens come to roost all night on the giant dead weirwood, and they have for thousands of years. Near the castle, a rise overlooking a stream gives a view of the two Raventree gates. I don't know why I call that, but there it goes.
It sounds like where Tony Soprano buried Richie.
Yeah. Really, you just chopped them up at Satrell's.
A little field with pine cones around, and we could look at the ducks.
She's like, really? Like, no. It was speaking. Oh my God! It's speaking of Tony and Richie. I got this clip, and I don't know why.
I'm the fucking one who calls the shots.
I don't know why I got that one, but
I need to finish The Sopranos. I started it. I'm like, this is gonna be my next show, and then I was busy for the whole year.
I've watched it hundreds of.
You haven't seen it like at all yet?
No, I watched.
Okay.
I finished The Wire last year, and
Excellent.
it was like, damn, that was
I
good.
got
I
some
should've done
Wire
that way sooner.
I haven't sopranoed or wired in any way.
You haven't even broke bad.
Oh.
Or called Saul.
I
Right.
haven't broken bad. No, I broke a little bit of bad.
That's fair.
Okay,
You didn't call Saul, which is more
Zach?
your tempo.
Zach, 1, 2, or 3 for Wire. 1, 2, or 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Let's go with 2.
Your mama need to stop laying your clothes out in the morning.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
And then I got this as well.
Cottage cheese, chest ass motherfucker.
Do you have taking notes on a criminal conspiracy? That's one of my favorites.
No, but I watched that episode today. Are you taking notes on goddamn criminal conspiracy?
I quote that one a lot.
It's so good. No, I got a classic one which I won't play yet because I'm sure it will come up, and then I have this one which will never come up.
College kids ain't shit.
I don't know how my mind works. All right. So what do you guys think of House Blackwood? Is it like, do we want to talk about the gigantic weirwood tree, Raventree Hall, why constantly ravens roost, or why they're tall? What do we want to do?
I find them really interesting. Anything weirwood adjacent is interesting to me because it implies a very long history and a connection to things that are going to be incredibly relevant to the story. With Bran and his weirwood powers and all that. So I think it is interesting that they have a weirwood. I think it's interesting that it's such a huge part of their house and their lineage. I think it's interesting that somebody with Blackwood blood, somebody like Bloodraven, became part Weirwood. Like, that seems to be that their family is tied to it as much or maybe more than the Starks, which is fascinating. It's a really interesting like thing to think about in the way that the world works. Weirwoods, as we're learning more and more, especially with like spoilers, House of the Dragon, are some of the most powerful magical things we're aware of the existence in Westeros. So any family that has a deep tie to it, there's something weird going on, and it's interesting that we just don't like. I don't think we've ever gotten a close up on like what goes on in the Blackwood like area. I mean, I guess it's the same with the Brackens. They're always sort of in the periphery, but it's kind of weird to have a character who's like, oh yeah, their house has magic in it. Then again, you could say the same thing for different types of magic for the High Towers, but I also think the High Towers are really fascinating. So, yeah,
I think I get what you're saying, but keep in mind that even like the two that we meet, like Tydos Blackwood doesn't seem magical by any means, but also like neither does Ned. You know, like just because he got that old school awesome first bloody, like I feel like it's like what Bloodraven was saying. You know, one in 1,000 is a warg, and then 1 in 1,000 of them is a green seer. It's just like, even though you can have all the right ingredients, you only get one Bloodraven and a whole bloodline, essentially.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Do we
wait, what do we think the population of Westeros is? Because that's only 1 in a million.
I don't know what the population of Westeros is, but I also know that 1 in 1,000 as a warg seems like too many wargs. Every time I've ever said that, I'm like, that's a lot of wargs.
Yeah.
That's 100 in the city I'm near, you know.
Now, does that seem like a lot of works to you? That seems pretty correct to me.
And then you just have to imagine that a lot of them don't live, like, especially like if some of them are going to be peasants, they don't, like, their kid might not live that long. They have a lot of kids, and they might have like a kid that doesn't, especially because like wargs tend to be I mean, if you're going by my theory, they like Jojen was very sickly and then got his green seeing powers. He managed to live through something that was traumatic and painful and like not good for him, and that led to him being a green seer. Same with Bran. He didn't have his green seeing powers until he survived a great fall. It could be that there would be green seers who would get their powers activated from the small folk, but they don't have the ability to keep a child alive after something as traumatic and painful as that.
No, I guess I understand what you're saying. Although it's weird that most of the wargs we meet are north of the wall, and they like are, you know, essentially small folk. But I think it's also because their culture, it you know, is a lot more like, if you seem force sensitive, they're going to send you to the temple, opposed to not, you know, like they seem a little more looking out for wargs. Let me check out the comments. Hi, Christy's talking a lot. How's your tree described as giant and colossal? It's just huge. I can probably get some. I didn't put any art really in my slides. Just I had so much I was doing this week. I wanted to pull some OT, so I worked every day this week, and these were my only days off. So I didn't get as much work done on these slides as I wanted to, but ironically, I have almost every piece of art you can think of in the computer, so I just have to call for it.
I looked it up. The estimates for population of Westeros is somewhere between high single-digit millions and low double-digit millions. So that would imply that...
Yeah, I looked it up, and they said 40 million plus or minus 5 million.
Wow.
Yeah, there should be, like, many green seers.
Yeah, no, actually, that seems about right to me.
Here comes random.
If we assume that it is lineage...
Hey, Rig.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Is my sound coming in good?
Yeah, I got you.
I can hear you, and I can see your face vibrate.
All right, awesome.
And here's a picture of a tree.
I gotta go switch my laundry over. You guys talk to Rig.
So how far in the chat have you guys gotten? Have we started talking about much, or are we
barely at all?
We're talking about green seer DNA.
Oh, by the way, Taco, I absolutely love the rock behind you.
Thank you.
It is so cool. It
literally
really
walked about the house.
It looks like legitimately like what I imagine Storm's Inn to look like. Like, obviously they describe the stones as being perfectly fit together, whatever, but the same type of stone. And the color. It honestly it makes for the perfect perfect backdrop. It's very Westerosi castle.
All right, so I do have a clip specifically for the guy who just came in.
Right? He's so random.
There you go. See, I tried to get one for everybody. Sorry for the nerds one is all I got for you guys. I tried to look for just. Oh wait, I did get one just for Tom, but I couldn't find a good one that just said Zac. So I'm sorry, Zac. I'm not trying to single you out.
No, you're good. It's hard.
It is, but I got
my name peaked in the 90s, and there was any piece of media that had Zacs in it was usually pretty bad. I've watched a lot of very bad movies.
I got this for you though, Tom.
That's from Succession?
That's the best I can do for you, Tom. But all right, let's check out the comments really quick, and then if we want to talk about the Brackens, we like I said, RIG, we barely started moving. We just talked about Raventree Hall and the Blackwoods, so let's talk about the Brackens, and then afterwards we will tell us who we have allegiance towards. So House Bracken of Stone Hedge. I always want to say Hinge. Right? It's so hard, dude. Stone
I know.
Hedge,
I say Hinge too. So
it's so hard. Is an old house from Stone Hedge in the Riverlands, one of the main families sworn to House Tully. The Brackens land lay along the Red Fork of the Trident. They rule over wider domains and can field a much bigger army than House Tully. Almost exactly the same stuff we said about the Blackwoods, by the way. Stone Hedge, sometimes called Stone Hedge, or the Stone Hedge, is the seat of House Bracken in the Riverlands. It is located south of the Red Fork, and the Inn of the Kneeling Man, and north of High Heart and Acorn Hall, and east of River Run. Blackwood Vale, home to the Brackens, is north of the river. So yeah, and if you guys look, they are super, like their lands are very close, right?
High Heart.
X's.
I'm dead.
High Heart. You gotta say hi to it every once in a while to remind. Oh hi. Wait, is there two of you? Hey, I am a live taco. Wouldn't it be really messed up if I wasn't?
Yeah,
really
Undead
quick,
taco?
little side
a
tangent.
dead stream would be
Are we
tough.
ever gonna eat tacos on the stream?
I did once. You missed my 1,000 subscriber special. I did a mukbang of tacos. I'm not lying. I bought like 12 tacos and ate them the whole stream.
That's
Sorry,
pretty
RIG. But
I have to do that with cookies next stream.
Oh, that's right.
Really?
Yeah. Part of our competitive resolutions was Tom to be 2% cookie.
1%.
1% cookie.
1% cookie.
2% is dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes. 1% cookie.
Russ, give me a thumbs up when you want back in, by the way. Or tell me in the private chat. So how much do you have to eat? So like you looked at how much you weigh, and then 1% of your weight.
Yes, I started the year at 232, and I had been coming down from 256 at the beginning of the previous year.
Dang.
The goal was to get down to 198, and then eat 2 pounds of cookie, thereby being 1% cookie by weight.
That's good. Rusty, you want back, or Rust E, you want back in? It's Rust F. All right. I'm screwing up Rust. He's hating it. I don't know if we need to read this, but I just want you guys to know I have a list of every Bracken if we need it. And no, this isn't impressive because there's way more Blackwoods.
Yeah, that's far more Blackwoods.
Yeah, we are overrun by Blackwoods. So I was thinking maybe we just have this once we read through the histories. And if you guys are like, wait, who's blah, blah, Blackwood? Then we can see to this. Is that how you guys want to do it?
We can do
like
the
it'd be like our
It's
our legend, if you will.
Yeah. Blah blah Blackwood. Have you any feuds?
Yeah, exactly. Have you any wool? How many times have someone ever said blah blah Blackwood, have you any wool to Tytos? But it happens.
Not enough.
Not enough. All right, let's play a non sequitur clip before we read another one.
No, I poop too much, and then I get tired.
These landing guys.
Hang on. I want to talk about something relevant before we move on.
Go on.
I found it very interesting. We were talking earlier about like odds Like if we assume that it is
I want to talk about your cookies some more. So yeah, keep going.
okay. If we assume that 1 in a million figure is like not correct, but a decent estimate on Bloodraven's part, that implies there's something between 10 and 30 green seers. I would lean
a lot.
I would lean more on the light side because it is genetics dependent.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is he talking specifically first men? Actually, I think he was specifically talking children of the forest.
Interesting.
I think so.
Stay with me in the brain space for a second. We could then do like we could then collate through and try to find them. If we assume there's between 10 and 15, we could probably list them.
Yeah.
We probably
before we do that, I have to ask you, Tom, how tall are you? And wouldn't you want to bring height into your percentage as well? So you have to make sure that 2% of your height, it's got to be, or it can't be too much to put 2 pounds of Oreos has to be, or it'll be 4 pounds of Oreos has to be.
No, he's 1%, not 2%.
What we're doing 2 pounds.
2% will kill you.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Honestly, like
it probably will suck.
That's what
dude. I'm 2% Oreos most of the time.
Yeah. Everyone like when I pitched this resolution, everyone was like, "That is unhealthy, especially if you have been on a healthy diet."
Fire Cat wanted us to read the whole thing. So did Aegon.
I mean, I've eaten multiple entire sleeves of Oreos in my lifetime and not died.
Yeah, dude. I'm like
people are because my girlfriend wants to do 2% cookie for next year to one up you, which is the spirit we want for Resolution Bowl.
Yeah.
And multiple people are like, you might die, and it's like I've seen her beat 3% cookie on many bad days of her life.
I bet.
All right, I'm just gonna leave this here and tell you, cookie talkers notice. Pretty good. Split splash blackfish. Have you any scales? Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord. 3 full pails. Oh, now you're invading the comments because I got your middle initial wrong.
What? I was greeting a friend of mine that I invited to this live stream.
Oh, I'm sure that's what you are pretending it is, but we all know what you're passive aggressively doing. I'm glad your friend showed up. What's up, Sherman? By the way, I wore a shirt for you, Rust. The other, the other wrestling fan. I guess I don't know if Zach and Tom are wrestling fans, but I just assume people aren't, especially people who make reading books their hobby.
Very, very long time.
So
I like Mick Foley as a human being, though.
I love Mick Foley. So I recently got into it as of last year, WrestleMania 40, and I finally get to watch my first like Royal Rumble, and I'm like going to a place where everyone's watching it. And it's gonna be a big deal, and I needed a wrestling shirt, and I didn't have one. And me being me, just like my clips, I can't just have one that people are gonna get. Like I want like one person to get it, and that one person's gonna love it. So it's a sign that somebody held up during a match, and this is what it is. It just says, Goldberg eats corn the long way.
Dude, in the wrestling community, that's not a 1% joke. If you're going to a wrestling show, like 90% of people are going to be like,
It's good.
Yeah.
And also, where was eats corn the long way my entire junior high? Because that joke would end people's social lives. Like, that is so stupid funny. like that is so funny. It's like, where was that when we, like, in 8th grade, I could have just destroyed people with that.
I feel like sporting has
this is a wrestling match between royalty, is like the King of Spain or something. It's a Royal Rumble.
You got it, Rando.
Princes of Dubai versus
guys, just go with
King of England.
In this particular case, it's the King of Spain versus the Prince of Monaco. Princess.
Okay. So a pretty.
I'm not sure who's running. I'm not sure who's running the Principality of Monaco.
How many nation rulers are still called kings besides Saudi Arabia?
I mean, not rulers, but there's still kings out there.
Yeah, but I'm talking about rulers, man. I'm not talking about figureheads.
The King of Spain still gives grades. Like, there's a YouTuber I like who gave the King of Spain double guns apparently, and he smiled back.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, you guys want to get through the Age of Heroes?
Yes.
All right.
You mean the Age of Hoagies?
Yeah, the Age of Hoagies. I already did a non sequitur to lead into it, but since it didn't work, we'll try this one.
Anyone want to see my unit?
No?
I think that cut off early.
They always do. They fade out quick.
You know,
Did you think Butthead was going to show his unit?
I have also never Beavised or Buttheaded.
Oh, that's wrong. Oh, here's modern.
I've
watched one episode.
He's like never watched any of the defining cartoons of the past 30 years, and that's just like come on, you got to watch at least one of them.
I watched one episode of Beavis and Butthead.
We're gonna do Age of Heroes.
Tommy, you seem more like a Daria.
No, Rust,
I'm pretty sure I was robo-tripping. And I just got this like overwhelming sense of dread from watching these two characters.
That wasn't the views of my head. That was the Robitussin. Like, trust me.
Robo-tripping.
That was the corticeating coffee cold because I've been there.
All TV when you're robo tripping is really weird. I'll give you one.
But I loved watching Futurama. What I would do is I would be peeking right around when my parents went to bed, right? And so I'd watch a few episodes of Futurama on Comedy Central, and then they would rerun those same episodes at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be down by then, and it was like watching whole new episodes all over again.
Oh my god,
it was awesome.
Let's do Age of Heroes, but I do want to say Mike Judge is my favorite creative of all time. I consider everything he's done, literally everything he's done, is at least good, if not phenomenal, and that includes Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, Office Space, which I got plenty on here, Idiocracy, Extract, and Silicon Valley. If your worst thing on that list is Extract, you're doing pretty good.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Thank you.
I've not watched Silicon Valley yet, but I did watch.
Absolutely watch.
Somebody made a reference to it, and I watched an entire episode, which is the one where he like takes down the pizza delivery company, and I thought that was a phenomenal episode.
Oh yeah, Slice Bite.
Slice Bite.
Yeah, no, definitely watch Silicon Valley and figure out why this is funny. Okay, moving on. Blackwoods and Brackens are both ancient houses, so I will be talking about both of them throughout this history. I tried to combine it. Descended from first men, Blackwood family traditions state that they ruled most of the Wolfswood in the north before being driven south by the Kings of Winter. Those are the Starks, by the way, which Maester Barnaby, great name, says that runic translation support. Petty river kings from House Bracken and Blackwood claimed dominion over the mouth of the Blackwater Rush in the Age of 100 Kingdoms. The Blackwoods and Brackens have a old and bitter feud against each other, coming from the Age of Heroes when both houses ruled as kings. According to Blackwoods, the Brackens were petty lords and horse breeders who hired swords to usurp the Blackwood kings, but the Brackens claimed that the Blackwoods were vassals who betrayed them to usurp them. So, the Blackwoods believe that these events occurred 500 years before the arrival of the Andals, but true history states that it was 1,000 years. Wow, all right.
1,000 years.
Normally, the true history makes things smaller, so that's weird.
Yeah.
According to the Brackens, there were kings who ruled. Oh, I already said that part. All right, cool. None of this is professional.
Imagine murdering each other over 1,000-year-old dispute,
bro.
That's called being
like how
French
incompetent has every king been that they haven't just gone there and like rectified the situation.
Yeah.
Well, it did notably take France and England until World War I.
Like the Blackwood that goes with Jamie actually explains this to a degree. Yeah, he's like they've tried to remedy it 1 billion times over. Every Bracken actually is a Blackwood, and every Blackwood actually is a Bracken because they've intermarried so many times trying to fix the thing.
Yeah, it's so great that how many of them have married. Which we will actually get to talking about the marriage a little bit, but I just realized.
Yeah, by rectify, I didn't mean like make them marry into each other. I meant like put one of them in charge and then forcibly displace the other one. Like get on the other side of the continent and just leave each other alone.
You mean Manderly them?
Yeah. And then you have the hilarious conflict of the petty lords of the Stormlands and the Brackens are enemies forever.
Well, apparently somebody displaced the Blackwoods to begin with.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is you can't necessarily solve the problem in a world of petty kings and small lords and say there's just not a lot of good recourse, I'm
so glad Aegon made it.
And also, Blackwood stole the land from the Brackens. I don't know about that one.
Okay, so I did find.
I think the Blackwoods would have something to say about that.
Well, yeah, let's find out which.
Because a border dispute is one thing. This is like you should be vassal to me, and you should be vassal to me. That's not something that you can like talk out. If both parties are going to be dicks about it,
that is not something we can talk about.
Hey,
the proper way to handle this is to just roll up and declare them to be both no longer houses and put whatever their vassals are in charge of everything.
Brackenwoods.
And be like, hey, you lesser vassals, how about you guys get along? No fighting. That's probably you guys are now the lords.
Jonos doesn't really have a male heir, and all he has is daughters, and Tytos just has a bunch of sons.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you just? They're all just not lords now. They just make them a knight or something. Like you're just regos now. You're just rego people.
I did have something I wanted to say because I just went through the chapter with Tytos Bracken and not Tytos Bracken, sorry, Jonas Bracken and Tytos Blackwood, because I filmed right before this. I filmed my Jonas Bracken video. And it wasn't planned that way; it just happened.
Nice.
So the chapter that Jamie talks to both of them is really fresh in my head because I just listened to it. But I don't know where I was going, but I just did it. I was headed somewhere, guys. I'm losing it. I don't know. I'll play a non sequitur. What do you guys think of this one?
Dude, buttwad.
No. No chat from science.
I like him. I do.
Yeah, I do.
All right. I got another one, but I think I should wait later in the stream because it's a pretty rough one. But it's the funniest thing he says, but I just don't know if it's okay to put on the internet.
I have these thoughts quite often.
Yeah, same.
I remembered where I was headed. So I just did research because I always try to find any type of fan theory to put at the end of my videos, and I did one that was very short, and it was just, I think the Brackens are the ones who are telling the truth, and it's only because we know the Blackwoods were displaced and moved down. So it makes sense that they moved down, found people like, hey, can we stay here? They couldn't move down as kings and stay a kingdom. You would have to usurp in order to be like, you can't. Nothing's over here. We can just be king here. Cool. Like they would have to have either came down, taken another king's land and stayed kings, or came down, pled fealty, and then usurped. So I don't know if that's true. That's just what the fan theory was stating. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that the Brackens are telling the truth of the Blackwoods, or nobody?
I think it is probably the case that they're both full of shit. That's probably.
I think that there's I think that it's entirely possible that the Brackens had like a loose claim on land that they were barely using. The Blackwoods showed up and started building a castle there, and they're like, "Hey, that's my empty lot. You're not allowed to be there." And like they're like, "No, you didn't claim it." Like all those disputes like get embellished over time.
Yeah,
so
like it easily could have been one of those things where they built the castle and had been on the castle for 70 years before anybody even noticed.
Yeah. Like what if like the U.S. owns a bunch of guano islands that people don't live on but are full of bats?
Yeah, if I just moved in and Google Maps never noticed, like who would you?
Yeah, and if you have a family there in like a small village and you say we've been living here for 40 years, we're citizens of the Guano Islands.
Yeah.
You know, there is some family out there who is just like sitting back on some fortune, and it was built on the fact that some of their ancestors found a bunch of guano islands and sold them to the U.S. government.
Nice.
They're the bat poop billionaires. Yeah.
Tom and Zac sitting next to each other, I feel like when they talk, since they're looking away from us, that we're not involved. Like they're shut up, we're talking. like we're not part of it.
I was gonna say, so I think there's another possibility. I don't know how rational this is, but I think it'd be funny. They could both be petty lords who usurped a common lord that was over them both, and then they blamed each other for being the usurper, and everyone's just simply forgotten what it was originally about. But it's just about them deciding who was in charge after they both rebelled.
Oh wait, I can improve on that. I can springboard off this. What if they are both? They both remember what it's about, but they are both keeping it, like they are both maintaining the cover up.
Oh, like they're the ones who took down the Night's King, but they can't talk about it.
I just think it's kind of funnier if they both forgot. There probably was some lord there that had some kind of claim way back in the day, and then it's just the Brackens, the Blackwoods knocked over that lord, and then they were like, "We're in charge, right?" And everyone's like, "No, we're in charge, right?"
I'll bet some the Brackens had been like completely wiped out, and the Blackwoods were just like, and like the Blackwoods didn't even do it, right? Like just from whatever, the Brackens get wiped out, and the Blackwoods are like, oh, I guess this is all ours now. And then some carpetbagger shows up, and he's like, I'm a Blackwood or a Bracken, I can't remember which side I'm talking about now, but I'm from the other family, and this is actually my land. And the whole thing is just some peasant who decided to call himself a Bracken or a Blackwood. And he's not actually a Bracken or a Blackwood.
I got my take on this, and but first I'm gonna say, if you guys just got here, please send in a super chat if you for sure want us to see it, and also if you want to do that without doing it that way, there's PayPal link in the description. So I think because, am I the only one here who remembers the short story from the guy Saki?
Am I the only one who? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, am I the only one who thinks of interlopers when you think of long family content? Like, I know people throw out Hatfields and McCoys and Capwits and Montagues. Does anyone remember the short story from Saki, Interlopers?
No.
Well, George probably does. but the point I'm trying to make is the whole point of that is that it doesn't matter. It's ancient. Who cares? They just use it to F with each other now. And it makes it more tragic the more pointless the feud start is, right? Like, if you know anything about George, the feud started over nothing, because that's the whole point, is that these High Lords fight and little people die over nothing. And that's my guess, is whoever started it, it's like Avatar: Last Airbender, when it was really just like a kid stole another ball from another kid, and these guys fight. You know what I'm saying? The more pointless, the more tragic.
Well, and that fits with some actual like history versus mythology too, because like there's a lot of like founding myths of Ireland that claim a different family they were the first ones to arrive, and they claimed it, and then they were the first kings, and that there was an actual like boat race, and the person who won got to get the whole island and all that. And it can't possibly be true, but there were like medieval families who stuck to that tradition. That's why the O'Neills have the hand as their symbol, because allegedly to win the race, one cut off his hand and threw it. So technically I touched the island first with a bleeding stump there. Never happened. Clearly never happened. But like
that's how I claim everything.
Yeah, I always just cut off an hand. Yeah. But like
that's how I claim at restaurants, how I claim shopping carts, and how I do insurance claims.
Yeah. Yep. And then that became
also how I eat clams.
Who claimed it for like centuries. You just cut off your hand.
Yeah.
So what I have to wonder is, you're reaching with your dominant hand, right? Sorry to just reach at the screen. That's really unsettling. I'm reaching with your dominant hand, but whatever you do, you don't want to chop the dominant hand to throw it.
Yeah. You want to.
So you have to take away your dominant hand, reach with your offhand, chop off your offhand, catch it, drop the knife. I'm assuming the other guy's just gonna win at that point.
Yeah, you might as well just paddle fast.
Presumably, you have a guy who is doing the paddling for you.
I would simply chop off someone else's hand and pretend it was mine.
God. Look at this guy.
Oh my gosh.
Hey. Frank Zapp was here.
Are you doing promotion today, Michael?
Not promotion, but this is foreshadowing. We call this foreshadowing.
All right. Are you
doing the hat? The hat is the foreshadowing.
Contest?
Wait, are you like gonna start ranching cattle or something? What's the foreshadowing?
Hold on. Foreshadowing. Let me zoom in on this on the stream.
Oh, okay.
One day.
Do you want me to zoom in on?
No, I'm zooming in on the stream.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want to too, Taco,
Michael,
that would
do
help.
you want a few clips I made specifically for you?
Yeah, go for it.
Michael,
you act.
Then I got this.
Why don't you just go by Mike instead of Michael?
And then,
what should I change? He's the one who sucks.
and I played it out of order because this
At
was
least your name isn't Michael Bolton.
I got other Michaels, but I played them earlier, so people who have been watching this whole time. I also have Moonman ones and Vipers, but they're not showing up. And I got that's it. I'm sad about those are the ones who did show up because I was really proud of a couple of them.
Also on my drive home, I did catch the beginning of the stream. The fact that your intro for Tom isn't the weatherman from Family Guy saying "back to you, Tom" after one of his ridiculous weather reports. That's got to be your Tom intro.
Yeah, I screwed up. I do have that.
Does he ever actually say "back to you, Tom"?
I think he does once or twice. I'm pretty sure.
Should check it out, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone does. Back to you, Tom. After something completely
is.
ridiculous is like one of my favorite things to say.
I have two for Viper, and it's one of those that only Rust is gonna get. But I got.
Run away with the Vipers.
And then,
Where with the Vipers?
What?
Wooden boxes. Nice one.
Nice one. So Tony and Michael, not that Mike, not a different Michael. No, it's Christopher, not Michael. Jeez. Tony and Christopher just drive by a bunch of like bike gang guys with boxes of wine, so they just rob them. And as they're getting robbed, they're like, "Hey man, we're with the Vipers," and they're like, "Oh, is that your Girl Scout?"
Now I'm just thinking about Michael if he was Mike Talks About Stuff, and I'm just like,
oh my god, I hate it. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It's a different vibe.
This doesn't flow as well. Like it's just there's something about the Michael Talks About Stuff that flows better.
Yeah. Oh my god, now I don't know what some of these clips are.
Wait, are we talking about Michael Imperioli?
No, that's why I call Christopher Michael. I don't know what this clip is, so we're just gonna have to learn together.
For not liking porn, I'm normal as shit.
There you go.
Oh, it's from Super Bad.
All right. Let's
The thing I haven't seen.
Superbad. I haven't seen it either. Actually,
you haven't watched Superbad?
Wait,
Oh
you guys-
my god.
Well, hang on a minute.
I'm gonna make RIG so mad this stream.
Did you guys spend your teen years like trying to get wasted?
No.
Yeah, how do you not? Yeah.
Teen years?
Much more fun.
No.
Than your teenage years trying to get wasted. Then it's like you've lived the movie, and therefore it's
You
quite.
do
hilarious.
need to it does make it's best if you watched Superbad when you were in high school.
Yeah, senior in high school, right at the end of high
Don't
school.
forget that
Hey.
most people weren't like drug addicts or alcoholics.
No, I was
A
a
lot of
good.
movies don't really hit.
You guys are lame.
Well, no, okay. From our perspective, our perspective on those movies is basically like it's a mythical world that like you assume like 4 years from now that's what life is going to be like when you're in high school and you're not trying to get wasted. You're like, oh well, one day I'm going to have big parties, and then you get to college. You're like,
Wait,
maybe
Michael,
sometimes.
Mike Bolton, if you will, you just
Mike Bolton, the
that's
lost.
another Office Space joke. But so you didn't do a bunch of drugs? You just accidentally looked like that? Like,
Yeah,
looked
well,
like you
I mean,
sold
I
all
didn't
this.
I didn't do anything bad in high school. I was a good kid in high school in that way.
I
Same
do
here.
handle by
I do
myself.
not fit in.
I think people give me more drug credit in my comments than I deserve. I've been given more credit for
ascertain.
Yeah.
No, so that's what's funny is I can take like unbelievable amounts of drug credit. Like you probably wouldn't guess it from knowing me. Like you might be like he's a little.
You
bit
hide your
weird,
face.
but you would.
We all know.
You wouldn't be like you wouldn't be like he died of drug overdose one time and then was resuscitated by his friends.
Wow. No, I do. I do read once a year just because my tolerance is destroyed. I get way too high and don't want to do it again for another year.
And then you like talk
we had
yourself
one
back into it over the course
robo
of next
trip
year.
story.
Yeah, no. Then I have a horrible experience and then get tripped back into it by myself.
Yep.
No,
Once
so you know
annually.
what's
2 weeks
crazy
ago, that's
though
when I did
is
that,
that
yeah.
is that when I was young, I would hang out with old people sometimes, and they'd tell us about like doing stuff, and it was so much crazier back in the day.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I've heard such insane stories that it's like old people, man, they're crazy.
There was nothing to do back then. You just had to do drugs.
I'm gonna click stay on target.
People used to read cereal boxes to have something.
Yeah, like clowns picking you up, dragging you through the world, giving you substances, and then almost crashing the Twirl-a-whirl.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
You were warned. You were warned. All right.
Anyways,
so we only got to Age of Heroes. So let's do the Andal Riverlands. Does anyone else want to read, or are you gonna torture me a little longer?
This. Oh no. Okay, can I take the next one?
Yeah,
why don't you have one paragraph? Why don't we change off every sentence in the most annoying way possible?
Oh my God, guys.
Every word. Every word.
You know, sorry I asked.
The Blackens and the Black. Right now,
you just offended all of them. Both of the families are so
allied together against the coming of the Andals to the Riverlands, but were defeated in the Battle of the Bitter River. The feud was. Oh, sorry, that's your line.
Bitter River.
That's your line.
Oh no, you do the paragraph.
Okay.
Do the paragraph.
The feud was aided by Bracken's conversion to Faith of Seven after the Andal victory. In contrast, the Blackwoods kept the religion of the old gods, being one of the few houses south of the neck to do so. Do we know the other ones? The Blackens believe that the Blackwoods, I keep combine them into one house. The Blackwoods believe that the Brackens are poison the weirwood in the God's Woods of Raventree Hall. The Teats, Battle Valley, and the village of Blackbuckle are parts of the disputed land. There have been numerous pieces between the Blackwoods and the Brackens, many sealed by marriage, but the feud always restarts.
And we know why, because we don't combine their name. If we started calling them the Brackwoods, we'd be fine.
Yeah, then they just be mad at us.
I never realized how offensive the Blackens was until I heard
Moving right along.
Yeah, we'll go with Brackwoods. All right, go ahead.
Brackwoods.
But Benedict Rivers was a bastard born from both houses, who eventually became King Benedict I Justman, with House Justman ruling over the Riverlands for about 3 centuries. There were Blackwoods among many petty kings who disputed the Riverlands in the tumultuous century after King Bernard II Justman's death.
There
I
you
wish I had more. I like reading stuff.
Well, you can read the next one.
Yeah, let's go.
I hate reading. That's what I do as my hobby.
Justman's like a bad name for if you're the king.
What?
What do you want your surname to be? You're a bastard born. You can be anything you want. Just man.
Just man.
All right. I got to make so many puns during my Justman video because I get to say he's just a Justman. He's just a Justman. Like I'd said it so much. I do have a Benedict.
Was he just or was he unjust?
He was unjustly considered just for adjustment.
Oh, okay.
Just.
He could have used some adjustments on how just he was as adjustment.
Yeah.
You did that explanation justice.
Yeah, so I like that. For one, isn't it crazy that the Targaryen dynasty lasted as long as the Justman dynasty, but no one ever talks like apparently Justman that's a pretty good dynasty. Also, like almost every other slide, we hear more about when these guys team up. Like maybe is it just a big deal that the Blackwoods and Brackens team up, but they definitely ally with each other a lot.
I've had this thought before as well. They're on the same team pretty often like a dynastic feud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do they have
always
team up?
I don't know.
I mean, World War I and II for sure, right?
Yeah.
Like, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, when America's at war, you put the disputes behind.
Lots of alliances of convenience in history, you know.
No, I'm sorry. The Lions lost this weekend.
Oh. Wait, no, I got a clip for this. Oh, I just wish I had this. I wish I didn't need to keep playing it. Goddamn Viking! All right, you know how? Let's talk about how arrogant me and Michael were.
Yes, let's turn it into a football.
Me and Michael,
it's a football stream.
I was like, hey, I have the day off. I have the day off for the Super Bowl. Do you want it to be a Super Bowl stream? And then he, in very Michael fashion, meshes me like 5 days later, and he's like, "Yeah, but what if the Vikings win?" And I'm like, "Oh no, he said, like, no, I won't do it if the Packers are in it." And
that's not what I said. I said I'm down. I'm maybe down if I'm not doing something else, unless the Packers are in the Super Bowl, in which case, no. And then you said something. I'm like, you said, oh, maybe not if the Vikings are doing. I'm like, yeah, I was surprised you were willing.
Because I wasn't even thinking about it because I never think about Vikings being in the Super Bowl. But at that point, they were still 14-2.
Right. So wait, hang on a minute. I'm confused. They actually play inside this bowl?
Oh my god!
Well, no, they play for the bowl.
He's so random.
Oh, they play. Okay,
yeah, the bowl is the trophy.
Now, is the bowl like decorative? Is it shiny and gold?
No, it's shaped like a football, and you can't fit anything inside of it.
Oh, okay. So it's more.
Well, you can eat cereal out of the one that Rob Gronkowski put a dent in.
Done.
That's true.
They play the playoffs, all these football games, and then finally, when they get together to find out who the best football team is, they go bowling to find out.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right, there we go. See, I don't follow sports. These are all things that I need to know. These are all things I don't.
But anyways, when we were discussing, like, and then we'll invite people if we talk Super Bowl. None of us thought the Bills would make it. Like that.
I didn't. No,
we never lost faith.
I mean, I don't blame you, but I'm also like not upset.
The problem was the Vikings had a better season. No, the Packers did too.
Right now.
It was revealed to me in a dream.
You stop this moment.
Shut up, guys. They're gonna miss the field goal. It's fine.
But it wasn't Tyler's fault. Everything was wrong that game.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All I'm getting at was you guys might not be invited out of bitterness into the Super Bowl.
Look, that's not even the loss for Minnesota that made me the saddest in the last several months.
Wow. I knew where you went. I almost went week 18, and it's like, oh wait, no, he doesn't give a
No.
I know.
I was just gonna say, RIG, the main thing you need to know about the football playoffs is at the end when they figure out who the best team is, they hand them a trophy named after the Packers coach. And that's why the Vikings and the Lions refuse to ever win one. And the Bears they got one and they don't want another.
We didn't even like going. We don't like going to the Packers' house.
Right. They get there, then they're like, wait, we're playing for something named after the Packers. We don't want it. And then they stop.
Actually,
you know what's great about the Packers is they always get quarterbacks that do the same thing. They play really good, win Super Bowls, and then get canceled for being awful people.
Yeah,
I'll take that cycle every day. Yeah.
I can't wait in 10 years.
Stop saying things.
I can't wait in 10 years to find out what the crazy, insane thing Jordan Love's believes.
Yeah, what's Jordan Love up to? That's what I'm wondering.
Like,
I'm not
it's
kidding
worse
you.
every time.
I'm not kidding you. I still have, because I found it yesterday. I almost wore it on stream, but I would have had to wash it, and I found it yesterday. I have a Favre for president.
That is aged very poorly, and somehow the exact same time, Aaron Rodgers, in a much shorter period of time, Aaron Rodgers for president has aged equally as poorly.
No. Like that
one hasn't gone away.
Never mind.
That one hasn't gone away though, Zach, and that's the problem.
No. The problem is Aaron Rodgers might be in charge of a government body in the next football season.
Can we move here? I'll play this. You think I only got stuff for your guys' names? Come on.
Tacos tonight.
It just makes me really happy that all of my friends are now Bills fans, and that just it's just great.
They are who I want to win out of these guys. Although Washington, because they beat the Cowboy or the Lions, and the fact that I can say commies.
We did this.
I'm okay with the Bills commies one because then we get to avenge the '90s when we lost.
Or we get to lose again.
Or we get a reminder of what it felt like in the '90s.
Or it's much worse.
Or Karl Marx's dream is finally realized when the commies win.
To be fair, based on every leftist I've had a conversation with, they have real difficulty with Bills.
I like that one. That's a good joke. I thought you were going. I thought I was going to have to mute you real fast, but I like that one.
You can read that either way. You can be sympathetic or derogatory. Yeah, it's really dealer's choice.
Andals, the time of the Andals, or do we want to move on?
Who do the Andals play for? What conference are they in again?
Yeah.
Just silent beams of head laughing. That's all you get, dude.
They keep on losing to the Chiefs, so no one hears about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's trying to say Broncos.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Bo Nix. All right. Where are we at? We did the Andal Riverlands. So we're at Andal Riverlands Part 2.
Oh, can I? All right, I got this.
Yeah. Tom,
okay,
you want to do the whole thing?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. I'll do every fifth word.
Say again.
I'll do every fifth word.
With the support of.
That's not the fifth word. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it is. Arlen.
Third Turton, a storm.
King.
From Storm's End, Lord.
Roderick.
Blackwood rebelled against
All right,
Humphrey.
we're not doing that.
No, okay. Humphrey the First Teague, king of the rivers and the hills. A Lord Bracken died in the fighting between the Teagues and the Storm King, Arlen III Durrandon. Roderick was killed in the Battle of Six Kings, ending Arlen's attempt to restore the Riverlands to the Blackwoods. After the Riverlords rejected the possibility of being ruled by Roderick's daughter, Shiera Blackwood, Arlen added the Riverlands to the realm of the Storm Kings. When the kings of the Iron Islands from House Hoare invaded the Riverlands 3 centuries later, Lady Agnes Blackwood led the Rivermen's resistance. She led the resistance of the Riverlords to Harwin Hoare, but Lord Lothar Bracken attacked Agnes's army from behind. It is possible Lothar hoped to become the king of the Trident after Harwin defeated the Storm King Aric Durrandon, but House Hoare instead took the Riverlands for themselves. Harwin starved Lothar to death when he later rose in rebellion.
Oof. So there, the Brackens look like complete jerks, right? Like you attack your own homies from behind, like these, man.
Yeah.
And that is a bit of a trend with them. we will see more of that later.
Being jerks is a bit of a trend.
I mean,
talking about modern history, I completely disagree.
I mean, Aegor, I'm not Duncan.
Oh no, I'm okay. All right. I thought you were talking about
Duncan's not related to either family that we're aware of.
No. We established that he is Aegon's half-brother, bastard half-brother.
Oh, that makes sense.
Duncan,
when was this established?
That?
Yeah.
It's canon?
Yeah.
Shut up.
He's Duncan of House Donuts. There you go.
Duncan of House Tall. I did get a.
America runs on Sir Duncan the Tall.
Those are going to be some good memes when the Duncan.
Look how long this cat is.
They're going to miss an
Seriously?
advertising opportunity.
Look how long this cat is. This is just
cat.
absurd.
I don't think I've ever seen a cat that long in person.
It's been such a long cat. I think it's beautiful. Meowing.
Ones on Sir Duncan shirts.
Bills? Buffalo Bills?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Shut up. Here, I got this for you.
Simply read the cards. You're going to be wonderful, really.
I can do this.
I've seen Williams World.
Aces, diamonds.
All right, no, here I got this for all of your bills.
It certainly does suck.
Watch it. I can put a card against my head and then tell you what it is. Hold on.
Hang on, I gotta get pretty close.
The funny thing is, you weren't even good at it. Like you're cheating. You're still like, is it?
It would be way better if you at least memorized like the pattern of each number and didn't have to look at the number.
Is this your card?
Yeah, that's my card. Magic.
All right.
Just do the magic trick, but never.
What was
show
the
card to
character
the
Johnny
audience.
Carson did?
Oh, we put the envelope to his head and then he opened it up? Yeah. Oh, I can't.
I probably shouldn't lick your cards, huh?
Just gonna.
They're freshly opened.
What does that mean? No, not because I'm scared of your germs, but because it seems.
On the TV.
Then it's very rude.
Yeah.
then it's much more than I pay you in a year.
Karnak the Magnificent.
Yeah, there you go. Karnak the Magnificent.
Whatever happened with those guys? Like, okay, when those guys do that thing where they bend the spoons, and like in person, I get like, okay, you can do that with a trick spoon or whatever. What were they doing when they would like go on the radio show and then all these people would call in and be like, my spoon bent? Was that some weird suggestion thing where they were convincing people to bend their own spoons, or were they just lying?
Frank from the room over, Colin.
I know that sometimes they would sell spoons. They would sell spoon. They would be like, follow along with the radio show with our specific spoon. And then,
Gotcha. Yeah. I didn't know. Like, I figured that someone would do like an expose on how that was done, and I just haven't seen it yet. So I would hate curious.
That's a video essay topic that anybody here can pick up.
That seems like a James Randi kind of joint.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Your Ovaltine. Crummy commercial.
If only he were still alive.
Captain Disillusion was a disciple. He learned all the stuff from James Randi. He could do a video on it.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to come up with a Ligma on Ovaltine. I wasn't listening to anything.
That's fine.
I just almost got Captain Disillusion confused with that other guy with the sunglasses and the mustache who just got canceled for getting weird with kids.
Oh my
God! Dr. Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect. Dr. Disrespect.
Zach, you paused. He interrupted you to change the subject. And paused. Came back. And then
all right,
I was gonna do a pivot. Was Dr. Disrespect a Bracken or a Blackwood? Do we think?
Both House Bracken and Blackwood.
I don't think that's a pivot.
It's not a pivot. He did House Targaryen during the War of Conquest and rebelled against Harwin's grandson. What? Oh yeah, King. Okay, because we were talking about Harwin earlier. King Harren the Black of Harrenhal. The Brackens and the Blackwoods have been weakened by a private war that no one even knew that they were doing. A decade before the conquest, however, and Harren had dealt with them harshly instead of the weakened Blackwood or Brackens. Aegon instead granted the new title of the Lord Paramount of the Trident to Sir Edmund Tully of Riverrun. Queen Visenya Targaryen negotiated a double wedding between them. Here, there's more weddings. Who wants to read the second paragraph?
I am happy to, if there are no other takers.
I think everyone just wants you to do it.
Sir Lyle.
Go ahead, but I'll take the next reading.
Oh, hell yeah. Sir Lyle Bracken was one of the 7 knights of the warrior's sons who were slain during King Maegor I Targaryen's trial of 7 in 42 AC. Sir Oliver Blackwood and Sir Raymond Mallory, knights in Maegor's Kingsguard, defected to the cause of Prince Jaehaerys Targaryen in 48 AC. Since they had broken their vows to protect Maegor, King Jaehaerys allowed them to return to join the Night's Watch after he gained the Iron Throne. Oliver and Raymond led a rebellion of former faith militant among the Watch in 50 AC, with Lord Walton Stark beheading Oliver with ice at Rhymegate.
Nice. Rhymegate. I always read it Rimgate. I don't know why.
That
I can't think of a reason.
I can think of a reason not to call it Rimgate.
What reason?
You know, I can't think of
Oh my god.
He was really not a fan of Pacific Rim.
Oh yeah, there we go. I do this weird thing where I look forward to doing this, and then the whole time I just loathe. No, I'm kidding. I do have another clip specifically for Tom and Zac. Whenever you guys are ready.
Oh, play it. I'm actually back now. I had to walk away just for a second because cats are running around doing shit.
I got something for Tom and Zac. Whenever you guys are ready.
Yes,
No.
ready.
Well, you two look like a couple of boogies.
There you go. You look like a couple of boogies. All right, if these Caddyshack ones aren't landing, I don't know what I can do.
You buy a hat like this, I bet you get a free bowl of soup. Huh?
I have not watched Caddyshack in a hot minute.
Caddyshack is that Adam Sandler movie, right?
Looks good on you though.
It just the clips keep cutting off before the end of the quote. So like
they always do that. I don't know why.
Shit.
Like
You gotta give yourself some buffer.
Yeah.
I can just. All right.
What are you
But
saying
I look them up. But yeah, but I don't edit these. You think I make these clips? I download.
Good.
Oh, fair enough.
So to Stephanie Sherman, yes, to tie the two families together. So like Blackwoods series, they do that a lot. Like there's a thing called the double wedding with Dorne.
There you go.
Where like the princess Daenerys, not Daenerys from the show, but a different princess Daenerys is sent south to Dorne, and then the king takes a Dornish wife.
Yeah.
So like the double marriage is like, yeah, it's like a, if you really want to make a strong pact kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it's kind of like what we said, almost after every major conflict between them, they get married, like to try to end it. Now that we made it this far, so we made it into the Targaryen era. It looks like the next one is Dance of Dragons.
I was going to say, Taco, if I could comment really quick, I was going to say their relationship is almost a lot like that Katy Perry song, the hot and then cold, and then
yes, and no.
That sounds suspiciously like the title of.
Yeah, no, we fight, we break up, we kiss, we make up. I mean, it just really fits. If you had to pick one song between the Blackwoods and the Brackens,
the Red Door theory, but it's Katy Perry.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know what that means.
There was a 6-month period when I was about 19 years old where I was into tanning, and it was fully just Katy Perry. It was not my choice. It was the music pumped into the tanning salon. But as a result, it was just Katy Perry nonstop for like 6 months.
I look up, I put on the glasses, he's like down here like this.
Try spinning that around, see if it tracks.
Yeah. Does that work?
I pulled overtime this whole week. It's supposed to be my week off, but I worked Monday so I'm in the middle of 8 days in a row right now. I did it 4 days earlier. I'm flipping my sleep schedule and I'm doing 4 graveyards. I'll probably call on Monday. But I got a lot of lime dust in my face earlier, so my eyes have just been burning today. So, how do you guys work?
I'm just imagining Rusty being like golden brown, and then like Katy Perry's just booming in the background.
I was gonna say, if I see Taco doing this in the middle of me talking, I know I'm going the right way.
No, it's funny because
I have a similar rule, but with him.
If you take my mostly over exaggerated annoyedness, because it's normally just an act, it's character to up your guy's joke. You would think like, man, he hates Rust. And it's like, no, I always invite him on. Like no, he gets good. He gets good reactions.
It's like having a good foil.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
It's like, why you wouldn't.
That's it. I've decided what the F finally stands for.
Okay. I wasn't talking either.
I'm sorry. It was very exciting for me.
What does it stand for, Rust?
Falstaff.
Oh, okay. I don't get it.
He was the biggest foil in Shakespeare.
I thought you were going to say foil, and I was honestly like, Rusty Foil is honestly kind of clever. In my head, I thought that, because you said that right after the word foil was said. You're like, I know what the F stands for. And then when you didn't say it stood for foil, that was just a twist I was not prepared for.
But what I was going to get at is, like, you wouldn't read, like, a Sherlock Holmes if, like, Moriarty wasn't going to be involved, right? Like, you need the guy to annoy...
I will read a book about Sherlock Holmes trying to figure out where he plays.
Taco, you've never read Sherlock Holmes Goes to the Grocery Store? It's fucking
fantastic. Yeah, but Moriarty is
honestly,
you need Laurel to annoy Hardy.
That's first third of most Sherlock Holmes books is him just doing stuff and annoying Watson.
Yeah.
Finally, it's like, Moriarty did what? He's like, well, let's solve it, Watson, you loser.
Well, Moriarty's up to something. Have I annoyed you with my violin yet today?
The time where he shoots RV into the wall with like a muzzle loading pistol, so it's one bullet at a time in honor of the Queen's birthday or something, because he's bored.
He doesn't know planets, which is so funny.
All right, yeah, that is funny.
I haven't watched The Simpsons, but I sure do know. I sure have Sherlock Holmes.
Do I have any more?
You had a forego on The Simpsons, an amazing show for Sherlock Holmes, a terrible movie that I think might have had a sequel.
Where'd that?
Oh no, you're talking about
Where'd they go? Sunglasses back right now. Give me this. I need to take them off dramatically.
Okay, here we go.
I called him Bendy Dick Custard Bath, and no one's gonna say anything.
Bendy Dick Custard Batch.
What? First off,
you probably haven't even seen The Matrix either, and yet you're doing like the fucking Morpheus right now.
I don't have any Matrix clips, but I do have.
Just because somebody is bald and wearing sunglasses does not make them Morpheus.
No, if he's bald and wearing those kind of sunglasses and making those gestures, it absolutely makes you Morpheus. If you do a Morpheus while looking Morpheus, you're totally Morpheusing.
All right. You guys ready?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Go crazy.
Don't mind if I do.
Well, that clip goes on way longer than it does on Twitter.
Although I still needed this, it was still split in two for some reason.
That one had the whole clip, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure what the Ace Ventura one I have is. I don't know. Oh, I got two. What's this one?
Zach keeps
You smell terrific.
This is nice to have a prop.
This is a prop show and a clips show.
No, it's absolutely both.
It's just fun. If it's visual stimulation, like
Taco, you have to
for all
get
the people,
one of those, like,
for all the people
soundboards
who've watched too much TikTok and they need Subway Surfers.
Taco is the new prop
I
comic.
feel you.
How long
I
is
think-
Carrot
I think
bottom.
This is my soundboard.
She's cuckoo pants.
Sorry.
It's not.
All right.
You gotta check out RM Brown. Go on YouTube and watch RM Brown. He has
After
a fucking,
this show.
yeah.
All right.
It's hilarious. His soundboard.
Okay, guys.
You'll love it. He makes all kinds of funny noises on his soundboard.
We gotta get back in the show.
There's no time for that.
No time.
I do have an interesting thing about the Blackwoods that we can talk about. that I'm
Yes.
gonna-
Oh, thank God.
Wait. You're
I've
gonna
been-
have to wait until our Blackwood and Bracken stream because this clearly is not that.
Yeah.
We can break into it at any point.
Yeah,
I was
when are we
gonna
gonna
say-
start?
We've barely gotten off topic here. Okay,
tell us-
barely.
Tell us your Blackwoods Bracken thing, Michael, but only if it's a tangent that leads away from the Blackens and Brackens.
It always is.
All right. So about Blackens and Brackwoods, have you guys
Well,
seen that episode of Scrubs?
What I was gonna bring up is I don't think you guys talked at all about like the sort of yin yang thing going on where the Blackwoods are like the old gods in the south, the Manderleys are the new gods in the north. Like they're if you drop the yin yang on Westeros, you would put the circles inside the big other color over White Harbor and the Blackwoods, right? Like,
well, yeah, we all made that connection.
Right, and I'm just saying, like, well, that's like, so the reason I bring that up, though, because we haven't talked about, I say we haven't talked about that yet, right?
No, we
It's
have
like,
not.
okay, because like I was talking,
dude, you showed up late, but we have not gotten much done.
Okay, because I was talking with David Lightbringer recently about that on a stream about like the ice and fire yin and yang type of thing going on, and like that definitely feels like it's a thing. With the Blackwoods, and one of the points I made is like Melisandre feels stronger at the Wall than she does in Ashai, and I think one of the things George might be getting at is like if you're the one who stands out, like if you're magically powerful, surrounded by all this ice, you're going to be more powerful than you would be in Ashai, surrounded by a bunch of other people like you. So, like, I'm kind of wondering if like there's something going on there where like the Blackwoods are more powerful because they're down in the south, and the same with the Manderleys. Like they show up in the north, and they're a very powerful house in the north.
Wait. Let me quantify what you said.
Yeah.
So you think that she was more powerful because she's the only unique person who's like absorbing said type of power in that area? Because I assume she feels more powerful at the Wall because I watched this one dude's crazy videos, but how the Wall is just kind of one big line of magical weirwoods.
Yes,
that's why she's absorbing the power.
Yes. So, but what I'm saying is like more powerful than in Ashai is weird, right? Like I would say like as powerful as Ashai, sure, but like Ashai is also a hinge of the world, right? And as a fire magic user,
yeah.
I mean, I assume at least that Ashai is.
I thought
magically
Ashai
powerful.
had seen a waning in power. And
it definitely looks like it's old world and even desolate and post-apocalyptic.
No, hang on.
Yeah,
well, either way, continue with the idea one way
The
or
Wall
another.
is old world too, but yeah, keep going.
Can I clarify? Can I just
go.
make sure that I understand it? I think I don't want to dismiss it out of hand. I think it's interesting. The argument is that like Magic is a zero-sum game, and that there's a certain amount that you can tap into in any given place, and she's the only one.
It's more so of like the in yin and yang, like when it's drawn out, there's the little dot of black in the white and the little dot of white in the black. And the thing that David was pointing out to me is how often that symbolism is everywhere in A Song of Ice and Fire. There's always a little bit of fire in the ice. There's a little bit of ice in the fire. Ghost is fully white with a little bit of red eyes. Same with Bloodraven, right? Like, we're listing like all of these different things, and like it's clear that there's some yin and yang going on with the ice and fire magic, and it's kind of interesting that there's all these people and these situations that stand out as like the opposite, surrounded by the other one.
Yeah,
and the fact that Melisandre feels more powerful when she's surrounded by the opposite type of magic was interesting to me. I was like, oh, and that is a real life thing, right? Like if you go somewhere where no one else has this type of talent, you are going to be more useful than surrounded by everywhere, like where everyone knows how to do that thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is that sort of yin and yang pull that like standing
there's
out
another
is
bit of
more
evidence for
powerful
that
than fitting in.
Do you
with
think
Mace Raymond says that like ice preserves, even though he is a Targaryen and they're like on fire, like the ice preserved him.
Do you think there's any proof to the magic being antithetical to each other, like fire magic and ice magic and blood magic?
That's what I was wondering, because
or are they just magic, or like are they?
I think they're two halves of a coin.
You do think of ice magic and fire magic, but okay, all right, okay. I answered. I had Michael's voice in my head. Let me tell you what you just told me, because I was gonna say fire magic has its shadows, ice magic has its shadows, so on and so forth. But you're right. Even though they're identical, they are different flavors of magic.
Yeah.
And even though they're extremely similar, but one's a very fast burning, made from passion to make this shadow baby out of fire. It's made from passion of Stannis when he probably has some really sweaty sex with Melisandre that makes it. And then you have like this slow burning, if you want to say the whites, because they are, or not the White Walkers, the others are always called shadows, right? So because the first time you ever see them, they're shadows and they're identical to it. But of course, if what you think and what you've convinced me on, if they're created via somebody who's either locked into the weirwood or something else that is slow burning, right? It is not made fiery passion and they die quickly. They're cold and lingering and immortal because of somebody's slow anguish. So they're very similar, but complete opposites.
Yes. Yep. And so even with yin and yang as well, it's like these are two opposite forces that are in an eternal dance. But are they two things, or is that one big process, right? Like, are yin and yang two parts of one larger thing that is eternally
thing, and they need each
in
other.
Process? And ice and fire magic is probably also two parts of one thing that are in an eternal process in that way, I think.
And it's always weird that Melisandre always guessed who the big bad was. When it's like, R'hllor, who does R'hllor hate? The Great Other. It's like, oh, you just guessed that the Great White Walker is the bad guy. Like, she doesn't even know that others are around.
Right.
It's so weird that it literally is ice versus fire if you take what she means by the Great Other as a other.
And even if you want to go with the Faceless Men interpretation that all gods are the same god.
All death gods are the same god.
Well, either that or all gods are the god of death. And the reason that the god of death would then pretend to be these other gods like R'hllor and the Great Other is to pit people against each other so they keep dying and fighting. Because if all gods are death, pretending to be two, because there's always two opposing forces. It's ice and fire, R'hllor and the Great Other, the storm god and the drowned god. Like, it always neatly divides into two sides that have to fight each other because of the gods. And if you're a god of death,
but if the god feeds on death, like birth has a 100% death rate.
Yeah. I took it to be the exact same phrase in the opposite direction. Like, not that like, what was it? Not that death is all gods, but or all gods are death, but like death is all gods. Like all gods have a death aspect, but not all gods are pure death. So the House of Black and White holds a piece of every religion in them, but death is the only place where death is the religion, is the House of Black and White.
Well, and also
I guess I interpreted it a little bit different, but I do get what you're saying. I think the House of Black and White for sure 100% is a yin yang reference, and it is all about. But that's the other reason why I do also kind of lean towards like whether you think of it as two sides of a coin or just one thing or whatever. I do think of magic as ultimately being kind of whole, even if it's made out of cooperative pieces. Because like you said, the yin and the yang it's kind of a whole of parts. It's like those two things being whole. So I think George does love that, certainly with the House of Black and White for sure. Like he's being really overt with that. And then the whole dance of ice and fire. Yeah, there's that. Like I don't know if the point is to be like, hey, this is about the yin and yang, but I think it has that element. So no, I agree with you on that. That is something I think he's trying to get across the parts of each thing in each other and the each things together being a whole. Like he likes that stuff,
If it was just about death, it would be called the House of Black. Like the fact that it's black and white, there is that other aspect that it's referencing. Also, I do want to bring up, and I've never really had this thought. I have connected, of course, Bloodraven to Ghost before, just because I do think that he wargs into Ghost. But I've never really, until you said white with red eyes, I've never really completely realized how symbolic Ghost is, because I've always thought of him as Jon's ghost, because Jon's going to warg into him and he's his afterlife. He is his ghost. But maybe he's Brendan's ghost, because Brendan's pretty much dead. He's when the way Leaf describes him is he is barely holding on.
Oh, that's a cool idea, dude.
That is.
But I just read this chapter because I did my Leaf. Let's talk about the difference. And for one, Bran chapters in Brendan's cave are the scariest fucking chapters. So eerie. The entire time I'm like, run, Bran, go. Like this is like you're in a cult. Call your dad. Like it's all
bad news.
It was
but you're like run Bran, then Bran has no legs. You're like, call your dad, and his dad has no head. You're like, oh fuck.
Do not let the crow take you to a second location, Bran.
Exactly. And Leaf is like, oh, we'll teach you after you eat this paste and get in this van. It's like, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
But anyways, what I was getting at is the way that Brendan is described is that he's pretty much dead. Like the roots are pretty much keeping him alive, and maybe I was wrong this whole time thinking that Ghost is Jon's future ghost, but maybe he's always been Brendan's because of they share the exact same look. That's kind of it, but that's got to be a good enough symbolism.
That's an interesting theory, because I've heard obviously the one that he's going to take Bran's body, but taking Ghost is a much more interesting thing, particularly if Jon's in there and he tries to force his way in while Jon's in there and Jon destroys
or other
him.
Way around. No, he's already in there. I bet he's been warging on him this whole time, and I think Jon's going to go in and he's going to hear hello, like, oh my god, who else is in here?
Well, that's set up already. If he's not occupying him at the moment, if, for example, he's off sitting there giving Bran a big lecture or something,
I think he's occupying half the fucking world.
In Ghost, when he comes back to Ghost, Jon's going to be in there in theory, and they're going to duke it out, right? You know?
Well, so it's already set up that you can feel other people when you're warging, because Bran feels a child of the forest in a raven. Yeah, so like you can sense them. I don't know how much you could interact, but that might be something Bran explores pretty soon.
Well, you can sense them if they're inhabiting, but like I think that when he wears a raven that is not inhabited, or wears an animal that's not inhabited, he can tell if it's been worn, like an old shoe is what he says, I think. But but no, I think also it's
like a pair of well-worn boots.
He's been working a lot, whereas Jon, I don't know, has Jon been working, you think, as much as Bran? Like, I know he's
not as much as Bran, but
he's seeing through Ghost eyes on a few pretty big occasions.
No,
I mean, it's set up for the reader
to win against your Corn half hand. Like he works pretty decently.
No, but it hasn't been as much as Bran, to the point where he'd be as familiar with the feelings. Like would he be able to tell if Bloodraven had been in Ghost? Like Bran might be able to tell if Bloodraven had been in Ghost after a long enough time, but like would Jon know?
This is
My
definitely
point-
not what this stream is about, but we need to just do a blood.
No,
Raven.
it is what this stream is about because Bloodraven's a Blackwood.
We haven't got to that part yet. We're only at
Oh,
fucking bastard.
they have the tree, and he is a tree. Maybe the Blackwood
wait a
sigil
second.
is actually Bloodraven, and they knew
Yeah,
the whole
see,
time.
exactly.
Where am I? Oh, damn it. No, I do got him. All right.
RIG, my point though mainly was that it's set up for the reader, not necessarily that John will like know what's going on. But if John pops into Ghost and he's hearing Bloodraven talk to him, the reader will be like, "Oh,
okay."
Two bodies can be in."
I think it'd be crazy if that was actually part of Bloodraven's demise. Like if something goes wrong in the cave and he's forced to jump bodies and he jumps, like who knows? Like we don't really know what his downfall is going to be. But it strikes me that is not bound to his body for sure. So he's going to jump.
We're never
Like
gonna get
somewhere,
back to Bracken and
we just don't know
Blackwood.
where he's going to jump to.
Every time he hopes the next jump will be the jump home.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, no, I'm gonna take us further down this rabbit hole, which really pisses me off. But does anyone else get the sense from Bran's first, right after he cannibalizes his best friend and he goes into the tree? The first thing he does is sees his dad because Leaf says you wanted to go home and you wanted to see your dad, so that's the first place you see, right? And Michael knows before I say it what I'm gonna say, but he goes Winterfell, and then Ned goes, huh? And then he comes out of it. So Leaf then says, and this isn't the point I'm trying to make, but it's just something I'm gonna say. Leaf then goes, like, how no matter how hard you try, you can't pull him back from death, which is not what he was fucking doing.
Yeah.
He was saying Winterfell. He was saying hi, right? How the hell, like, so you can. So like that clarifies to me, like, you can totally pull him back from death. Like, that's not what he was trying. And she's like, whoa, don't pull him back from death.
Yeah,
it's
whoa,
like your mom walks in
whoa.
on you and you're not doing anything dirty and she thinks you are. And that's how you find out that there's something dirty you could be doing, right?
Yeah, no, that's the question I was going to ask is do we believe Bloodraven when he talks to Bran about the limitations of worrying? Does anyone think that's real?
The next place I was going is the fact that then Brendan goes, I've tried to talk or whatever. I've tried to communicate with these people who I've loved and I've missed and I can't. Is he lying? Or does Bran that much fucking stronger? Like Bran accidentally.
Yeah, no, well, if Bran is the turtle, and there's a pretty high chance that Bran is the turtle, or at least he's a character translation of the turtle, and because the turtle is the character that Martin is the most, and so like Martin puts himself into a series of characters throughout the stories of his works, and the turtle is like one of his most, and Bran is a lot like the turtle, in the same way that Tyrion is a lot like the time traveling dwarf from Under Siege, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, if that's true, then he probably is the most powerful green seer, at least of this like last 4,000 or 5,000 years or more. Like of this last age, he's the most powerful green seer, probably. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was able to do something that Bloodraven legitimately believed was impossible. That's what the question is not, is Bloodraven lying? It's more, do we believe that what he's saying is true?
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Actually, I want to dispute this. I think that actually, I agree with you, RIG, but I think it is also a good conversation to have, because I think that Bloodraven is not aware of the limitations that Bran has, but I also think that if he was, it would be well within his purview to fucking lie about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think he might be lying? He might actually be concealing it from Bran to narrow down Bran's path.
Because,
yes, I don't know.
Bloodraven was in his life. Like, he wasn't the master of honesty.
From the tinfoil into here.
So let me add one layer to this. If this is true and he is actually lying to Bran, I think this might be the weirdest piece of evidence that he's planning not to jump Bran's body, because he would, if he was planning to jump Bran's body, he would be getting Bran's body and brain conditioned to anything he can do, and he'd be getting it conditioned to anything he wants to be able to do. Like, I would argue, but if he actually is trying to control Bran in a way where he's like, oh no, you can't do that, that's the rules here, and I'm teaching you because I'm the old teacher, then it makes me wonder if maybe his purpose is sinister, but not as sinister as stealing his body. Because I've also heard the theory of he plans to jump somewhere else and force Bran to be the tree man. And if that's the case, then of course he'd lie to his ass, and he would not be planning to jump his body.
It's entirely possible. I don't really think Bloodraven needs to steal Bran's body because, as you said, like he can just jump so many places. Like maybe, like I think he has other purposes for Bran.
Well, you have to have a master host, right? Like I would argue that, like for example, well, like at least what Varamir Sixskins tells us, it seems like is like he's always going to go back to his own body, right? You know that, and once he dies, he knows that his consciousness will lose its ability to ground itself to reality because he has no brain to return to. It's not an animal brain. He'll start believing he's the animal more and more and more and more and more. Yeah, and so like because of that, I think that more or less you kind of sort of need a place to return to that contains your ability to ground yourself in human reality.
I think his body will be sustained to be that, though. I think his body will always remain that.
So you think he'll keep the body, like you think he'll keep the Bloodraven body and be able to return to that, that brain over.
I think Bloodraven wants to die, but Tom has something he wants to.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So I think that it is not necessary for you to be in your own body in order for these things to happen. I think that in order to maintain a grasp on reality and a grasp on your sense of self, I imagine it is sufficient to just be in a Greenseer's body.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. I think you need a human brain more or less, or maybe, maybe you could even pull it off in a Children of the Forest brain, something that allows you to have all those human definitions and philosophies and identities of self. But for example, if you like Varamir Sixskins, if he's like, oh, I'm going to pick which one of my wolves to go into, he would eventually lose track of life as a person, and he would have life as a wolf. You know,
that's why he tried to grab.
It seems to be the text is describing that, and that's why I was saying I think Bloodraven does want a body to go to if he's going to body swap. I don't think he wants to necessarily.
I don't think he needs to body swap though. I don't buy that because I think his body will forever be sustained.
Yeah, I'm with Michael on that, and also I'm gonna call it so we can move on.
You think the Bloodraven body can last forever? No reason.
I have a tinfoil bomb to drop in this conversation.
I do too, but Zach, go first.
The House of Black and White, I think, are meant to kill like immortals, and I feel like that is like a thing that Bloodraven is trying to stop Bran from messing with death because he doesn't want to be the next victim of a like Doom of Valeria style, like you have immortal magic, we're gonna blow you up.
So
I'm starting to come around to this theory
about the House of Black and White coming to kill Bloodraven. Then
I believe that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're
also. If you want me to add more tinfoil into here, the reason we don't have dragons is because they're you need to sacrifice Targaryens who then become the dragons. And that's why certain dragons have really distinct personalities, is because they were people in previous lives. And that's why Valeria got blown up. I can assert this with evidence, but it's better if I don't, because the comments will be more fun.
I roughly agree with that. Like, I roughly.
So dragons used to be people. Are we
dragons were sacrificed.
Valeria was not nuked from space, because I was going to argue that Valeria was nuked from space, but
Faceless Men definitely set off the nuke.
But it was Dr. Bashir.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Countdown from 5.
We're gonna move got us on this tangent, which can then get us off, because this is how we got here. This is how we can get off. Bran. The reason that Bran can time travel and Bloodraven can't, I think, is because Bran's going to be the last one in charge of the Weirwood system before it gets destroyed. And if you're the last one with the time machine before it gets destroyed, you can go back and fuck up everyone else's plans, but yours stand at the end.
And then you explode the time machine. Clever.
So yeah, Bran can time travel, but other people who tried to, he would just go back and change their stuff.
All right, cool.
Well, I just got
Moving on.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
We're on target. This is all Bloodwave. This is all Blood-Bracken Raven.
Guess what? We're gonna do a Bloodraven stream and just talk about Jonas Bracken the whole time.
Let's do
exactly.
It. Let's do it.
All right. Who wants to read about the Dance of Dragons?
I can read this one.
Thank you, Russ.
All right.
It's a long one.
Lord Blackwood supported the
spoilers.
What?
Spoilers.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
spoilers. If you want to watch the show and don't want it spoiled,
Spoilers. So if you drive a Honda Civic, like get with this reading right now.
Yeah, just mute the stream and like cross your eyes, and when we're back, the spoilers will be
All right, let's talk about Ventricott.
Or even better, toss boiling water into your eyes.
All right, let's go.
I'm kidding. Don't do that.
All right, Dance of the Dragons. Lord Blackwood supported the claim of Laenor Velaryon in the Great Council of 101 AC, but the council ultimately chose Viserys Targaryen as the heir of Jaehaerys the First Targaryen. Samwell Blackwood fought a duel with Aemys Bracken over the favor of Rhaenyra Targaryen in 112 AC, but the princess eventually wed Sir Laenor. During the Dance of the Dragons, the Brackens declared for Aegor II Targaryen and the Greens against Rhaenyra's Team Black, while Lord Samwell Blackwood supported the Team Black of Rhaenyra. In 129 AC, Samwell was slain by Aemos in single combat during the Battle of the Burning Mill, but Aemos was then struck down by a weirwood arrow allegedly fired by Samwell's young sister, Alysanne. Sir Rhaelon Rivers led the Bracken survivors back to the Stone Hedge, but Lord Humphrey Bracken had already been captured in the meantime by Prince Daemon Targaryen. Since Aegon II had been punishing lords who'd been supporting Rhaenyra after her death, Humphrey joined the Blacks in support of Rhaenyra's son, the future Aegon III Targaryen, in 131 AC. Samwell's heir, his 11-year-old son Benjicott Blackwood, Black Aly, and their kinsman Red Rob Rivers, the bowman of Raventree, participated in the Battle of Lakeshore, the Butcher's Ball, and the First Battle of Tumbleton. Lord Benjicott had one of his best archers, Bill Burley, mercy kill the dragon Tessarion after the Second Battle of Tumbleton. During the Battle of the King's Road in 131 AC, Benjicott led the army with his liege Kermit Tully, Lord of Riverrun, and Kermit's brother Sir Oscar Tully. Benjicott's rivermen broke through the flank of Lord Boros Baratheon's Greens in the battle, allowing Alysanne's archers to bring down the Green Knights, giving him the title of Bloody Ben. After the Civil War ended, Black Ally married Lord Cregan Stark in exchange for him confirming King Aegon II Targaryen's pardon of Lord Corlys Velaryon.
Oh my God! Thank you, Russ. And also, Michael turned into a Teddy Ursa.
He's transformed.
Good job. And we lost Zach. Oh, there he is.
No, Zach went and made snacks for him, but not me.
I
asked if I wanted a glass of water.
I went upstairs to get some chips and root beer. And my wife was listening to Taking Back Sunday on her phone, and I didn't want to ask. And then she goes, so I found out that Taking Back Sunday is going to be part of this festival that she's been going to with a lot of those old scene kid bands. And I was like, oh, all right, I'm not interested. And she's like, yeah, you're not invited. And then she turned it back up. So now I have that stuck in my head, which is bad. Rust, thank you for reading all that. I do feel like, the bit of spoilers for the show. I do love Benjicott, Bloody Ben. I like a lot of what the Blackwoods kind of like the whole Blackwood Tully. What do they call them? The lads, the Riverland lads, right? The Oscar, Kermit, and Bloody Ben. I think that I can't wait for them to show up in this. We already got to see the Tullys, but can't wait for Benjicott.
We are just three children running rampant through the Riverlands.
We're 3 children in one now. Because they combined them all. I am the Omni Kermit. Anyways, you guys want to, without getting too heavily into spoilers, anything you want to talk about from the Blackwoods and Brackens during the Dance of Dragons? Besides the fact that I do love that, the first battle is between those guys, and it has nothing to do with anything else. Like absolutely out of nowhere, it's like Viserys died. Rhaenyra thinks she's queen. Aegon thinks he's kin, and it's like, and the Battle of the Burning Mill happened. It's like,
so you're saying we get to fight the Blackwoods,
dude? Immediately.
Good enough excuse. Hey,
timeline. It's right away. They just kill each other.
King's Peace is done. Okay, let's go get those fuckers.
Oh,
imagine!
Thank God, I wouldn't have lasted another week.
I imagine they showed up. I imagine they showed up at the Burning Mill, and they're just like, all right, who do you support for this? And they're just like, we defer. Who do you support?
Yeah.
They don't care.
We
defer to the second half.
Yeah. All right. Which side would you like to fight from?
No, they're all wearing green shirts. Or no, he's wearing green shirts. Like the Black would show up. It's like, hey, are you guys Team Green? Yes. And then they flip them over, and there's black. It's like, ah!
All right, cool.
What didn't predict that one? Honestly, that's kind of
Whoa,
shocking.
really? Okay.
That's pretty good.
Show's good, guys.
I'm trying to think of any other huge thing besides the Battle of the Building Mill. Oh, also, does anyone else get the Jerry Reed song Amos Moses stuck in their head when you read about Amos Blackwood? I don't hang out with cool enough people. You guys are all lame. Primus did a remake of it? All right, come on.
I wasn't
Can't say
listening.
I've never had that experience.
Oh, my
What was
God,
the question?
Do you know do you think about Amos Moses, the Jerry Reed / Primus song when you hear Amos Blackwood?
No, I don't listen to music like that. You know that.
I've been to see Primus live, and I don't know that song. Which is peculiar.
It's off Rhinoplasty. It's the Just Covers album.
Oh, I know a couple of the covers, but
he plays.
I get real down to My Name Is Bud.
Jerry Reed's version is banjo, but he plays Les Claypool bass to the melody of the banjo. It's amazing. All right,
no, that's pretty cool. Either fortunately or unfortunately, my musical taste is much closer to Taking Back Sunday.
You'd be hanging out with my wife, and I'd be going to see Primus and Ween, and you're like,
I'm not proud of it, but that's
fine. No, hang out. I don't give a shit.
I jammed to a good couple Primus songs.
I jammed to a lot of Primus.
My name is my bear.
I got my daughter into Primus. Her favorite song is Too Many Puppies. She requests it all the time.
Just so you guys know, while Zach is doing bass licks in the back, just so you guys know, I got to be out in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and we're only in the first
Tom has to
Civil War.
leave because apparently somebody has taken Sunday. That's all that I heard.
Yeah.
Man,
they've ran off with his Sunday.
So
we
badly
don't know where his Sunday has gone.
Yo, you want to? What's that Liam Neeson movie? You want to watch Taken Back Sunday?
I'm imagining this is like an ice cream sundae, right? Like this is like Taking Back Sunday, like you are taking back the ice cream sundae that was wrongfully taken.
What's after? Okay, let's talk about Aegon the Unworthy.
Hey, this is the subject of my next theory.
This is one of our two Civil Wars that we have to talk about, and you guys we're talking about Taking Back Sunday, all because of my horrible life. My God.
I know, it's a Thursday. We're talking about Taking Back Sunday, and it's a Thursday, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but there's just a band called Thursday, which I
Sunday.
like more than Taking Back Sunday. All right, let's talk about Aegon the Unworthy. Am I doing this one, or does Tom want to?
Oh, let me do one more.
I thought so.
I'll do the third paragraph.
No, you do the second, and then
I'll go back to the third.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like splitting Tom in half. Whoa.
Here we go. Don't say that. Actually, you can say that as much as you want.
What?
Aegon the Unworthy.
Dirty Tom. Go ahead.
Lord Bracken served as hand of the king to King Aegon IV Targaryen. His elder daughter Barba was the fifth mistress of Aegon IV and the mother of Aegor Rivers, the great bastard known as Bittersteal.
He's in the chat.
However, House Bracken fell from favor after Lord Bracken began talking openly of marrying Barba to Aegon IV after Queen Nerys nearly died in childbirth.
Melissa Blackwood was the sixth mistress of Aegon IV Targaryen and the mother of three great bastards, Maya, Quetis, and Brendan Rivers. The last of whom became known as Lord Bloodraven. Melissa was well liked at court, so Blackwoods did not greatly suffer when Aegon dismissed her.
Lord Bracken's second daughter, Bethany, was deliberately groomed by her father and elder sister to win back the king's favor by replacing Melissa Blackwood. Bethany succeeded in replacing Maligma, but she found the king's embraces distressing. And so sought comfort in Sir Terence Toyne of the Kingsguard. After the affair was discovered, both Bethany and her father were executed.
Okay, I feel so freaking bad for Bethany.
Yeah.
Like her dad and her sister, who's already been sleeping with Aegon the Disgusting, like forces her into it, and then she like, oh my god, this is awful, and then she finally found somebody who comforts her, and he murders both of them. Like, all right, I don't want to go out on a limb here, but this Aegon the Unworthy, a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
Sounds like a real jerk. Yeah.
Like a real jerk.
On a scale of 1 to 0, he's a 0.
Yeah. He's definitely not a 1. He's my least favorite Aegon the Uns.
Yeah. You know, there's
Aegon
not that
the
many.
Onion.
Who's your favorite Aegon the Un?
I mean, Aegon the Unlikely is pretty good. Aegon the Uncrowned is pretty good.
Aegon the Unfriended.
Yeah. Aegon the Unk.
What's the what did we name the
Aegon the Unk will buy you a beer.
Not to be confused with Uncle Tall.
Rando, what did we
We'll buy you a beer, but hold up here. Like, you gotta get it. You gotta get it.
Young Griff's Aegon the Un's named.
What was
the
it?
Untimely?
Aegon the Untimely, yeah. Aegon the
Untimely.
Aegon the Undressed.
Aegon the Undrafted.
His football career didn't go much.
Aegon the Ungulate.
Aegon the Untargaryen.
Aegon the Undead. Right.
Ooh, that's a good theory.
Aegon the Underwear Model.
Aegon the Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Hold on, what brand instead of Calvin Klein would he be wearing on a billboard?
Aeropostale.
I'm trying to whip out a Marky Mark impression out of nowhere and try to quote Aegon, and I'm just.
It would just be Calvin Klein, but Calvin and Klein both have a Y in them.
Yeah.
Calvin.
Yeah, this is true.
That's literally what Westerosi underwear would be. Yeah.
Calvin Klein,
Calvin
that guy who got hit by a
Klein.
car in front of my mom's house, and they started dating afterwards. It was written on his underwear. Zach got it. Zach got it.
Oh, that's a good joke, Taco.
Thank you. I'll be here all
think I
night.
wouldn't notice that our son looks exactly like this Calvin Klein character?
Oh my god.
From high school, you think I wouldn't know?
He says it's not like I've never parked before.
You parked?
You smoke too?
You smoke too?
These are the references for me.
Yeah, this one's working.
Like my brother.
I was gonna say the Marky Mark is more for Maegor the Cruel. He's the only Targaryen we know who's had good vibration.
Good vibration. Maegor the Cruel. All right, I like it.
He got kicked in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Where are we at here?
In what way did Maegor the Cruel have good vibrations?
He got his head kicked in.
What?
He
was in a coma.
Yeah.
He had to be shaken away from his coma.
Okay.
His brain was shaken into a coma. Many such cases.
Oh, do you guys want to talk about some bastards?
Some real bastards.
Did we talk about the teats in detail yet? Because I feel like you can't talk about the Blackwoods and Brackens.
No, they fight over the teats. Yeah.
You were just talking about talking. Never mind.
This is
Well, I know,
teat talk.
but we didn't. We did just talk about that, but also we didn't go into a full-on teats tangent. So I figured before we get off of that, we should
tangent. Michael teats about stuff you may.
Oh.
I mean, well, have you thought about this, Taco? That the teats, are some big hills. And in Westeros, often big hills end up being, guess what? Burial mounds. All right. So what happens, all right, if the others get south of the neck, what do you think is going to happen with the teats, Taco?
Are you suggesting that there are giants underneath? Is that what you're
No, there's going to be just white streams just coming out of the teats, just covering the riverlands.
Okay.
compound of undead coming out.
Just whites everywhere.
Yeah, but they're probably, if it is, oh my God, I've never thought about this, but that is a contested. All right, you backed your way into an actual theory here.
I know, I did this a year ago. Yeah.
Oh,
I made this joke a year ago and found a real theory in there.
Universal symbol for teats. That's not what I was doing, but I accidentally did. So, Tom, are you gonna do copy my hand gestures, please?
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
there we go.
well,
all right, we all will.
Guys,
So, they're right at the border, right? So Pennytree is right between, but they're contested, which means that it's the border between Brackenland and Blackwood land, right? So maybe a huge fight happened there, and one side burial mounted here, one side burial mounted here.
Yeah.
Playing along. So then when the undead does this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. And
I like this bit.
They're going to merge from one, and Brackens are going to merge from the other. And they're two more. Is that?
That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah.
I am a huge proponent of all these burial mounds. Like
Leo DiCaprio inceptioned me to say all that shit.
Well, basically, yeah. The whites are going to come out of the teats. That's what George is setting up.
Oh my God. Like white, like milk.
Taco just got the joke. I was just doing the joke, the milk joke the whole time, but it is a real theory buried in that.
Okay, for what? Fuck you. Oh, Taco just got the. You can be nicer to fucking invite you. Hey, Taco finally showed up, guys.
No, it was hilarious hearing you get it though, because I thought you were in on it the whole time.
I thought you got it before.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, grinding gears. No, I thought you were shuffling that joke aside, being like, okay, I'm not even gonna touch the milk joke.
I backed away into an actual talk about border dispute. So oh my God! So you're sitting here
the real theory,
and I'm doing freaking episode 1 talking about border disputes.
Well, so
I think that scenes are underrated.
It started out as me trying to make a teeth joke, but when I looked into it, I found a real theory there that they're probably actually burial mounds. That video has not been put out yet because it was going to be an April Fool's video that didn't get released.
I think we've talked about this before.
That's the keyless theory that the long night will bring all the boys to the yard.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom and Zac. Now that I got you guys both here, I wrote down a theory to present to you guys. I'm proud of it.
That's great. One less work, days of work we have to do.
Yeah. Say again, Taco?
I wrote it down. Hear me out. Are you listening, Zac? Zac. So I wrote it down, and I wrote down Mad Huntsman is a bastard of Roose Bolton.
Ooh.
And it was all you ruined it. And it was all based on the violence that he's attached to, and of course him loving dogs, right? And then you guys put out a video that day, and I check it, and it's Chet is a Bolton bastard because he loves violence and he loves dogs, and I fucking was so pissed because I'm like, wait, that one's better than mine, and I was like, fucking
That's a good video.
I was like, you beat me up without knowing about it. Like you had no clue, and I wanted to thumbs down your video. Fuck you guys.
We talked about this. We talked about this the next day, 2 days later, we had you on the schedule or something, or we were getting you on the schedule. You're like, that was going to be the theory. But
no, I said, no, you guys kind of fucked it up.
If I recall correctly, the theory we got instead was Bloodraven is a cloud?
No, Bloodraven's a cloud was before that.
Okay.
The one that I'm going to, whenever we can do this, because and then I started moving, and I've been really busy, and this is my first live stream since we got into the new house. That's what the rock wall is. But I got a new house, guys. I got my wife knocked up, so we had to buy a new house. Wait, I got a thing for this.
I got a thing for
hang on.
Yeah, thing for this. Wait, ready?
She ain't fat. I got her knocked up.
She ain't fat. I got her knocked up. No, so I do have the most tinfoily one, and it's one of those perfect ones I know you guys are going to like, because when I first researched it for a video, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever, and I hated it. And in the video, I completely talk crap about it, and I say it's stupid tinfoil, and now I love it, and I can't wait to talk about it. So I do have one.
This happens to me with so many theories that it's stupid until I talk about it.
Bloodraven Cloud is definitely that.
That's so good. That's so stupid, and it is correct.
Our bread and butter is theories like that. We've convinced people that Joffrey died of rabies, which can't be true.
Absolutely.
Are you leaving, Tom? Because I'm gonna play the most vulgar clip I have at you before you leave.
I am. Give me the last one.
All right, it's not the last one. It's just the most vulgar.
You two donkey dicks couldn't get laid in a morgue.
Ooh, that's a rough one.
Yeah. I've been advised not to play it.
I also wasn't expecting those words to come from Bill Paxton.
It's great about it. And apparently it was all improv.
Morgue, but
yeah, well, there goes my monetization. I can't even blame Rust.
Zach, can we do a Reanimator?
You want access to a morgue so we can make a Reanimator sequel? Yeah, because I can get you access to a morgue.
Let's do it, guys. I have to go.
You two donkey dicks.
I hope you guys have the most wonderful evening, and these are the highlights of any weeks that they happen. These are fantastic.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
Except that football game, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's usually a highlight too.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye. Yeah, thank God those guys are gone.
I'm just glad we're back to my autistic brain just likes the 2 columns better is all.
Yeah, I feel you, because there's so much dead space when it goes to 5.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
So really quick, Michael, did you just
and 6 people? We've determined, I think, in the past that 5 people is the limit to have on stream at once.
I don't know. I've done 9.
Michael, has your tag always been "This is now a teat stream," or is that
no? That I changed that right before I knew we didn't bring up the teats in the section. I thought we were going to talk about it, so I knew I was about to just force that conversation in.
You're gonna force in the teats?
Yeah.
So you should keep that as your permanent tag. This is not a teat stream
until I think of something better. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that Bill Paxton weird science clip didn't make us lose all of our comments, all of our. So we're good. Did we read Great Bastards? No, we haven't, because you wanted to do the teats.
Yeah.
So man, if only we had
because Michael wanted to fondle some teats. We couldn't talk about the Great Bastards.
Now you guys pretty much can say whatever you want, because since I played that Bill Paxton, I can't complain about anything inappropriate anymore. Oh my God. Yeah, so we're at Great Bastards. If does somebody else want to read this, or do you want me to? I can. All right, no one else jumped on it. Brendan was represented by Barbara's. Oh God, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. He was Barbara's bastard son. There you go. Aegon Rivers, nicknamed Bittersteal. He was resented by Bittersteal. There you go. At some point, Brendan became the lover of half-sister Shara Seastar. God, you gotta love that almost all wars are fought over somebody wanting to bang their sister in this world. As Aegon desired her as well, Shara became another point of rivalry between the two half-siblings. Brendan would become Shara's most ardent admirer. During the first Blackfyre Rebellion, Brendan remained loyal to his true-born half-brother Darren II, also known as Darren the Good, instead of joining his bastard-born half-brother Daemon the First Blackfyre, like Aegon did. At the Battle of the Redgrass Field in 196 AC, the Raven's Teeth gained the Weeping Ridge and rained arrows down on the Blackfyres from 300 yards away. That's some good shots. Killing first Daemon's eldest son, Aegon, then Daemon himself, and then finally Aegon's twin, Aemon. The arrows are said to have been driven by, that's why, because they were driven by Brendan's sorcery. And people later named Brendan Kinslayer. Daemon's death led the rebels to rout, but some are rallied by Aegon Rivers in a mad charge. The resulting duel between the rival half-brothers left Brynden blinded in one eye and Aegor retreating, with Daemon and his eldest sons dead. Aegor fled into exile in the free cities with Daemon's wife, daughters, and remaining sons. And he was married to one of the daughters. Incest. You guys
gotta love them royals, eh?
I thought you were gonna just say gotta love it. Like, no, you don't. You actually don't gotta.
No. I was gonna say, if there's two things George likes to include, it's prostitution and incest. You just gotta have a little bit of each one up in there, you know.
Mm-hmm. And he's not one of those put step in front of it type guys either. Nope. They're not siblings. They're siblings. They're twins.
Yeah. Now, when it goes back, did you guys read the intro to In the House of the Worm? It's not even his actual sister, but the guy thinks about her like she's his sister. It's weird.
So it's like Joe Dirt when
he's
he's not into her when he finds out they're not related.
Yeah, he's attracted to the woman because he thinks they look a lot like their family. You know, it's a very Joe Dirt thing. Where
yeah, so George must have had a really hot sister. Sorry, I had to say it.
Yeah,
Taco, when are you doing just a Joe Dirt stream?
Troubling life.
Whenever, dude, whenever you want to do it, but let's do it on your stream.
Okay, fair enough.
You can like survive the 1,000 unsubscriptions. I can't.
That's fair.
What stream is this? Is this the stream?
The Joe Dirt stream.
George R. Martin
I said, when are we doing a Joe Dirt stream?
We're just gonna talk about
Joe Dirt stream. We're just covering Joe Dirt.
I thought we were going to talk about George's crazy wild life, you know, and I was going to pitch my theory that George actually has had interactions with tons of prostitutes, and that's what I think he's writing about in these books a lot of the times.
Glad you made it, Nick. Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
Particularly Meat House Man. Particularly Meat House Man. I think Meat House Man is I think some real things happened with George. I think George experienced some real life things.
I'm having trouble finding pictures of his sisters, but he does have two of them.
Oh no! Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
We can't
devolve into an office style hot or not debate where we're like labeling George's sisters on the wall and being like, "Is she hot?
Is she hot enough for incest?"
No.
Okay, but if you saw her on the street right now, we're not talking book hot. We're not talking Shira Sea Star. If you see her on the street,
what's up, Nick?
Root of Bracken. All right. It's weird how a lot of the like Bloodraven stuff is covered afterwards, right? In the second Duck and Egg book. So I just named this one Brood of Bracken because he's the Bracken who's most involved during this time, and he's trueborn, not like that dirty Bittersteal. Sir Otho Bracken, who I've now covered twice, the Brood of Bracken, slew Lord Quentin Blackwood in a tourney at King's Landing in 206 AC, reinvigorating the feud. How many times has it been reinvigorated now? Like 5? 3 years later, Otho and
more than Blackwood, 4, and you got to see a doctor, man. That's a medical emergency.
It lasts that long. If your feud is invigorated for more than 3 hours at once, see a doctor.
Yeah, 4 hours.
4 hours. Oh, so 3 hours is fine?
Yep.
Oh, what are you at now?
7.5.
Jesus Christ. I saw a doctor and banged it, The guy's like, 4 hours, really? Pulls the curtain. All right, anyway. I love the cute little giggle I got Rust doing. All right. 3 hours later, Otho had 3 years later. You fucked it up. And some Blackwoods participated in the tourney in Edford Meadow. Sir Stefan Fossaway considered convincing Otho or the Blackwoods to fight for Sir Duncan the Tall in the Trial 7, but decided it would be impossible to make them both fight for the same side. When Lord Bracken lay dying, so his dad, Otho's dad, Septon, worst name in the entire Song of Ice and Fire lore. I'm not even kidding. explained that Otho would inherit and the Blackwoods would not suffer him, meaning war. So as soon as Otho became Lord Otho, they would attack pretty much. Lord of Bracken's eldest son and heir died in the Great Spring Sickness. Bloodraven, Hand of the King, known as the son of Melissa Blackwood, thus was considered unlikely to stop it. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is if the Blackwoods just like attack the Brackens, Bloodraven would probably just not care. It's like, cool, go kill that brute. Yeah.
What about vice versa?
No, I bet if the Brackens attack the Blackwoods, freaking Bloodraven would come down with all the strength of the Riverlands.
Biases are at full play here. Like, he will just do the thing. Like, I don't think he would even hide it, right? Like,
I mean, if there's a Blackwood or if there's a Blackfyre or a Bracken involved, Bloodraven will turn into Maynard Plum to get in. Like, he'll do whatever he can, like, to stop it.
Yeah. You would assume he treats them as he would the Blackfyres. Maybe not, but you would assume, like, if they acted up in a similar way, he would do a similar thing.
So we don't actually know if the Brackens supported the Blackfyres, but one would assume, right? Not only because the Blackwoods and the Brackens are always fighting, but because Aegor is like the Blackfyre right next to Daemon. But yeah. No, we finally made it to contemporary history. We're getting there. You guys ready for some contemporary history? No, you're not.
What, like
all right.
the
What
Kennedys?
All right, fine. No one. Brandon, what are you up to?
Was Bloodraven guiding the magic bullet? Is that what you're asking, Russ? Was it a Weirwood magic bullet?
We know that was Magneto.
Okay.
Oh my God, that is a thing in one of those crappy movies, isn't it?
It is.
Did they do
Except
that?
he was trying. He was trying to save the president, though.
Oh, that's so funny. That's better than. It's not better than when J.K. Rowling tried to be like, wait, let's talk about what wizards were doing during World War II, and they canceled that shit before they got there. Like, they canceled that like 3 movies out of like 7. But they're like, no, that's a very funny thing though. They're like, let's talk about what the X-Men were doing during JFK.
Yeah.
That's great.
I love that. I was absent for a second. I keep having to stretch my back. My back injury's all fucking me up.
We're talking about how Magneto killed JFK in
oh no, I overheard. I just couldn't respond because I was away from.
Oh well, I was trying to get you to talk, and I thought you were ignoring me. So
no, sorry. I honestly, I probably need to jump off here instead and lay down or something like that. It's just bothering the shit out of me. I'm like, I've had this injury for a long time now.
Brandon, I hope you know we can't see you. You can lay down.
Oh no, not with my microphone. It's all a mount that sits above my chest. But anyhow, continue with the contemporary stuff though. It's like I wanted to hear
where are we at. Oh, that's Game of Thrones.
Current stuff, you know.
Contemporary history. Sir Eustace Osgrey boasted that in the past, members of important families married Osgrey, citing Blackwoods as one of the examples. This was really important for me to keep in. Queen consort of Aegon V was Betha Blackwood, and Alyssa Blackwood was the 4th wife of Walder Frey, Lord of the Crossing. Yes, that's Walder Frey. Lord Tywin Lannister, Hand of the King, decided to grant a mill to the Blackwoods to resolve a border dispute, but King Aerys the Targaryen instead decided to give it to the Brackens. God, I love the pettiness of the Mad King, of just like, hey man, we got to get this border dispute, so I'm gonna give something over to the Blackwoods. He's like, no, give it to the Brackens, more dispute. Like, dude, we're trying to end. He's like, no, war, peace, war. Yeah, Aerys, low key the best, really. Lord Bracken and Lord Blackwood came to Riverrun when Lysa Tully was young to put their feud before the judgment of Hoster Tully, Lord Paramount of the Trident. Lord Bracken Singer performing during the visit. I don't know why that's important, but it had to. And Hoster attempted to marry Sir Brendan Tully to Lord Bracken's daughter, and he said no. So yeah, Blackfish will not marry a Bracken.
And he said, fuck that. I ain't marrying no Bracken.
I had a thought there. So we talk like there's the theory that the Mad King is like being driven mad by Bloodraven on some level potentially.
There is that theory. Yeah.
It would be interesting in that context because he took the mill away from the Blackwoods and gave it to the Brackens.
Mm-hmm.
So either that means it's not Bloodraven because Bloodraven would want the Blackwoods to have it, or that means Bloodraven cares way more about the Mad King going crazy than he does. He probably doesn't care about the Blackwoods and Brackens.
I think he moved way past the Blackwoods and Brackens. He went from Blackwoods to Brackens.
I would tend to agree with that. He's kind of probably past that shit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I just had a thought. Okay, so the Blackwoods and the Brackens are always feuding, even though they're very similar, right? They're pretty much two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
Targaryens and Blackfyres, the next feud that he moved to, are literally almost exactly the same, but they were feuding, right? Then the next feud that Bloodraven moves to is humans versus the others.
Oh, yeah.
Are they as closely entangled as the Blackwoods and Brackens or the Targaryens and Blackfyres?
If the others are shadows of humans, then yeah. Like literally,
or bastards of humans. Like
that too.
Blackwood and Blackfyres and Targaryens.
Like the shadows are like the opposite. Like that's what the Blackwoods and Brackens do, right? They just project onto each other because they're the mirror of one another. So that's what the shadow is, right? Like that. So it is just the bigger scaled problem. Yeah. You're right.
So
the other thought I had about this is a video that I almost like. I have it on my to-do list, but I don't know if it's like a full video or if I need to add something else in to connect it.
The
but like
playoffs 2-year backyard baseball.
So it's interesting that like the Night's Watch, one of Jon's big parts of his story is he needs to go and he needs to forget his family and his attachments so that he can follow his oath and do the right thing for everybody, not just what's right for his family. Yeah. And I thought about like that's important for a member of the Night's Watch, but that's like 1,000,000 times more important for a Greenseer. Like that has to be part of Greenseer training is that same detachment, because if it's not, you have this God powerful guy who will literally destroy any enemies he has. So like you have to make sure that before you give someone that power, they have like let go of all that stuff.
Yeah, that's like literally like Yoda saying, Anakin, like you miss your mom, so we can't train you. And it's like literally the first thing Bran does is think about his dad and his home. And then according to Leaf, tries to bring him back from death. What I'm getting at is Bran is Anakin.
Yeah, I mean, well, basically, like if he doesn't let go of that attachment,
and that's that's actually really interesting because Bloodraven does kind of talk about how he misses and has all this stuff, but he doesn't try to, he doesn't call for them. He's tried to I had a brother.
He had to go through that.
Yeah,
he had to go through the slow detachment process now before he's like fully enlightened. But like Bran might need to be quicker about it because he doesn't have that kind of time. Also, that shows.
Go ahead.
The show also like kind of showed that, right? Like Bran became that fully detached person, and he's like, I'm not really Bran anymore. And it's like that is actually like an incredibly important thing for a Greenseer to do.
It just didn't seem like a good payoff.
Right. It was weird in the show.
It was super weird in the show, but I got what they were going for, but
they handled it wrong.
Transformation like that, you need to see the battle inside, right?
Yeah.
Like Anakin doesn't become Darth Vader immediately, right? Like you have to see the battle between the detachment or the darkness and the light. There should have been scenes where, like when he talks to Mira, a friend of the channel, Mira Reads, right before she leaves in the show, he should try to call out for her and say, but I've loved you and I've always loved you, but then have to say, never mind, you have to go. Like there has to be that conflict.
Yeah,
it's literally
sympathize.
George's heart and conflict with themselves.
Yeah.
They just didn't do They just skipped that in the show because
I sympathize a little bit because the weird thing is how do you show what's going on in Bran's head when it's something like that? Like they would have needed to do vision scenes. They would have needed to do like voice in Bran's head. Weird stuff that they
could have
done.
They could have showed it more than a blank slate. Like they could have
showed it more, but like it is. I can almost understand why. If they were like, oh, we don't understand how to show like the internal monologue fighting with itself, maybe we could do like some weird like detached tree vision, like make him like an android and people will get it. I think I understand. I'm not defending it. I'm saying I see how they made the shortcut decision they made. It was a bad one. But like you can see
maybe
the logic.
They should have did the same thing in the woods with Nymeria and Arya. Like he should have thrown rocks at her. Tells her to run away.
Bran just throwing rocks at Mira.
But that literally shows the I love you, but you have to go better.
Mira's just like I don't.
It would have done.
Oh my god, Taco! I want AI video to be good enough for me to make the end of the scene where it's like the deleted end of the scene where Mira's like, "You died in that cave. You're not really Bran anymore," and she's just staring at him. And instead of cutting, Bran just whips a rock at her. I don't want no more. I'm gonna ask, like, what the fuck was that, Bran?
Spritzes
like,
her with a spray bottle.
He whips another rock at her.
No,
like,
no.
Where are you getting these rocks? He throws another one. She's like, okay, I'm going. Fine.
I'm the 3-act pro, dude. I get rocks whatever I want. She's like, I'm not pro.
Pros start dropping rocks. She just gets dive-bombed with rocks from flocks of crows until she runs away.
I'm going to ask you guys not to throw rocks at me, but I am going to jump off here. So,
I was about to bring up something really interesting.
Thank you for having me on, Taco. It was good to see everybody. It was good to talk about stuff. I'll hopefully be around when you do your next ones. Let me know when you're.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you the heads.
I told you about my D&D complication on Thursdays, but maybe we'll at 7 I'm usually not playing D&D, so maybe we'll make it work out anyhow. So
yeah, but all D&D games go long. We know that.
No, mine goes to about 5 or 6 usually.
I've had plenty of 8-hour, 5-hour games.
But all right, well, good night, guys, and
Thank you for showing up.
I will see everybody later. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thank God he's finally gone, huh? All right. I actually have something that I've been not wanting to bring up, but I'm just giving into it. I'm letting the Palpatine in my head do it. Just give up. So like I said, I just listened to the Leaf chapters. And
that was a forehead kiss, by the way.
Thank you. It felt great. So they show up at the cave. Hodor, Cold Hands, Mira, Jojen, and Bran. Right? Yeah. And right when they're about to go in, coming from the ground, therefore there for a very long time, whites show up, right?
Yeah.
So a detail of these whites that have only ever been talked about one other person. It's not a detail brought up against other whites. I don't actually have the numbers on this, but I don't think it is. Maybe you can go back and look at other zombie times when they talk about undead. But these ones are specifically said their hands are black like Cold Hands. It makes you immediately go to Cold Hands. Yeah. Like they say, their hands are black. And I don't know if they bring up, like with Jasper Flowers, that his hands are black. But the fact that we were already thinking about Cold Hands because he's there and we got the description of Cold Hands a few Bran chapters before, I now think, oh, his extremities look like Cold Hands ones. They're coming from the ice, so they're there for an extremely long time. There must have been a reason why they all went there, right? Maybe they chased Bloodraven there. Maybe they chased someone else there, right?
Yeah.
So I want you, because you're the perfect guy to make this video, to deconstruct what the hell happened.
So you want to know
mound?
So my first thought is you're right. So the best theory in my current estimation for who Cold Hands is he's one of the Raven's Teeth, who went with. So like, if that is a good point, that if they're the only whites described like that, it seems logical that Cold Hands died with them at the same time, and then Bloodraven raised one of them to be an agent and like warg into in this way, or Bran or future Bran did.
If those bodies were there when Bloodraven went there, they would have erupted then. So they were old, but they weren't that old.
And that it would make sense too, like if they were the Raven's teeth, that would make sense that maybe was where they died, like leading Bloodraven into the cave. Maybe they died when Bloodraven showed up there, you know, and then they've just been waiting there ever since because, well, he's probably been in the cave. Like at some point he went into the cave and never came back out. So like if his Raven's teeth were guarding him as he got into the cave and a bunch of them died there, maybe that's, you know, just where they stayed until, you know, the Whites showed up, because until
Hodor and
Bran showed up. Yeah,
Hodor is the most important character. But yeah,
like that tracks a battle taking place right there does track if the Raven's teeth were going to die somewhere.
The time lines up that the last human we know went there was Bloodraven, so it have to be.
Yeah, I have a bunch of like weird little like half theories about things Bloodraven could have been up to in between like going to the wall and becoming a tree. So yeah, I'll probably include that as like a little tangent in that video, because that would
give me a shout out. I always get a couple subscribers when you do that.
Will do.
I gave you a shout out in my
I did video. I saw that. I was gonna comment, but I was watching.
On that one. And Waymar Royce. Yeah,
and Waymar Royce. That's the one I saw.
But the one I filmed today for Leaf.
Oh, okay.
Well, what video do you think I sent them to when I was talking about Leaf?
The old man. There you go. There you go.
No, I took a picture. I took a picture of the slide and I sent that to you. Of like, oh, by the way, yeah. So
that's right. Yes,
I said go watch it and tell them Taco sent you. So hopefully you get a comment that says Taco sent me. But
there we go.
Yeah. Thanks for sending your 10 subscribers. I'll send one.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We're finally into the books. So you guys want to read 4 books really quick? These are much shorter. So Game of Thrones. After the death of King Robert I Baratheon, Sir Cregor Clegane the Mountain burns out the Brackens, laying waste to their fields, slaughtering their small folk, and leaving Stone Hedge a smoking ruin. Sir Jaime Lannister defeats the River Lords and captures Edmure Tully in the battle under the walls of Riverrun. Lord Tydos Blackwood leaves the survivors inside of Riverrun, however, and defends the castle during Jaime's siege. With Tydos absent, Lord Blackwood's seat of Raventree Hall surrenders to the Lannisters. Lord Jonas Bracken and Tydos Blackwood are listed among the nobles commanded by Joffrey I Baratheon to go and declare fealty to him. When Robb Stark attacks the Lannisters' camp outside of Riverrun, Tydos leads a sortie from Riverrun to free Edmure. I'm going to pause here and I'm going to say this battle is so stupid cool, and we never got to see it in the Game of Thrones because we saw Whispering Wood, but we didn't get to see Battle of the Camps. I love the idea of people sieging Riverrun, right? And then people attack the siege, and then Tydos Blackwood brings a force from inside the castle to like literally pincer the siege guys. Like, that's super cool. I just had to stop and say Tydos Blackwood like literally leading an army from inside the siege is awesome. Okay, so Tydos Blackwood and his feathered cloak are seen by Catelyn in the Godswood of Riverrun, praying with her son to the old gods after the victory of the Battle of the Camps. Jonas arrives at Riverrun after the Battle of the Camps, and at the War Council, Tydos urges to continue to fight the Lannisters and march on Tywin Lannister at Harrenhal. Jonas suggests pledging fealty to King Renly Baratheon, perhaps only to contradict Tydos Blackwood's previous statement of marching against Harrenhal. They both join the other River Lords in declaring Robb king in the north, though. They do, I didn't write it down, but I just learned this because I did my Jonas Bracken today, but they do agree, Tydos and Jonas, on when Catelyn tries to make peace, both of them are like, no, like they. So again, it's something that we've now seen looking at their entire history. For every conflict, there is an agreement, like almost in one conversation, even like they argue with each other, but it's weird how much they agree with each other as well, always. Because I mean, they have the same culture, they're from the same place, they're probably extremely similar, you know.
Yeah,
like they listen to the same music. Probably.
That is the thing with all these feuds too. That's probably a point George would like to drive home, is just like, hey guys, if you met under other circumstances, you might get along.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they like literally both rivermen cultures, both were first men houses, like lived in the same area, probably traded with each other a bunch. They're neighbors. They have to trade.
Both huge fans of Teats, so
yeah, love Teats. Yep,
like bond over that.
Both Eagles fans.
I don't think they would bond over that. Eagles fans. Actually, no, that's the only people that Eagles fans like are other Eagles fans. Or wait, no, I'm getting it backwards. Everybody hates Eagles fans. There, I got it.
They both love nailing pennies to trees.
Yeah, because any tree is in between the teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get to say the joke to Michael, but when the Packers played the Eagles, I just kept saying, like, is there a way for both teams to lose? I hate them.
Yeah.
It's funny that by default, like, Packers aren't my least favorite team anymore. Like, you know, like the Eagles have like somehow snuck above you guys on me hating.
Oh, really?
Okay. And Saints are like almost there. But you know, that's just the bounty gate. Like,
I was gonna say,
but we did get Miracle over them. So Miracle in Minneapolis, or Minneapolis.
Bounty Gate does make me remember though. What was your opinion on Vikings era Favre? Would you wear your Favre for President shirt to this day?
I would not wear my Favre for President shirt, and I almost tried to say this earlier, but at this point we were everyone was screaming over each other, and even I couldn't get in. My brother has a Favre Vikings jersey that has his blood in it, where a Packers fan punched him in the face.
Oh, damn.
It still has a blood stain, and I'm like, that makes that shirt so much cooler.
Yeah. Dude.
Because he wore it way later, and this dude's like, seriously? And my brother's like, what are you going to do? He's like, oh! Immediately got the punch. And no one jumped in. We all just laughed.
Oh, no.
It was a fun day. We were a little more rowdy back then.
Yeah.
I think that was like Christian Ponder days, like when the Vikings were awful.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Anyways, we hey, I know that you've never had a bad quarterback, but trust me, it sucks.
No, we had that one year where Rodgers got hurt and our backup was bad. We had to feel like 13 or 12 games.
Yeah, when his collarbone broke, right?
Yeah. So there was it that year? Well, because there's a year he missed a chunk of time, but there's a year where he just like missed.
I know
that was the collarbone. I know he broke his collarbone, but I think he came back at the end of that year.
Right.
I want to say there was a time where he just missed, but yeah,
definitely isn't. Let's talk about football. So, and I know I brought it up too. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying we should probably move on. Clash of Kings. This is a quick one. During the War of the Five Kings, Tytos sweeps the Lannister forces from the lands of the House Blackwood, but the invaders leave Blackwood Vale scorched desert. Lord Jonas recovers Stone Hedge, but he is wounded, and his nephew Hendry is killed in the fighting. And then Tytos' second eldest son, Lucas Blackwood, is one of the highborn companions of Catelyn in the delegation to Lord Renly Baratheon's camp. There you go.
Okay. Did George just try to name the kid Gendry and hit the wrong key on his keyboard? And everyone's like, well, Hendry's probably a name.
Is that a blender? Are you about to blend? Oh, no, it's a big... Rust is like in the middle. We can't hear you because you're muted. I like it that way. You did it. Can't blame me.
Well, it's because I was eating Skittles. Joe Hendry is a big name in professional wrestling at the moment.
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
Thank you. You can go back to being mute now.
No, I'm just going to eat Skittles with my microphone on.
You want to drive up to Minnesota and watch the Rumble with me?
No.
We have a spare room. We bought a big house.
He's got lots of rocks now. He can share those rocks with.
You hear it? It's real rock.
He has now got the ability to take another rock into his house and just bang it against his wall, and he can hear two rocks hitting each other inside.
Yep. Also, I once threw 2 birds as hard as I could against this wall.
Did you hit the same stone with them though?
No, so we had to just keep going until my aim got better. We killed a lot of birds.
There you go. Yeah. Takes a lot of birds to
Takes a lot of birds to kill 2 with 1 stone.
Yeah.
I think that's a Ben Bailey joke. Like, I have killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Don't be too impressed. It was 2 birds in a really small cage, and I had a huge stone. All right. Where was I? That was Clash of Kings. So let's get into Storm of Swords. Garth Greenfield. Sorry, reflex. Garth Greenfield is held captive at Raventree Hall. Lord Quentin Bainfort is held captive by House Bracken. So that's interesting. Harry Rivers. By the way, I've been reading about Harry Rivers all day. Worst name. Harry Rivers. Oof. Get that checked. The Bastard of Bracken. Harry Rivers.
I mean, it's better than Harry Crevasse.
I don't know, man. That's pretty good. Has been murdered by the Lannisters while traveling by a burned inn in Brackenlands. Branna, Sir Cleos Frey, and Sir Jaime Lannister find bodies of tavern wenches hanged for associating with Lannister troops, with signs that say they lay with lions. Tytos, nice. Blackwood. Good job, Mark. That's me. Look at how badly I spelled that. Blackwood and Jonas Bracken are among the 7 nobles who launch Lord Hoster Tully's funeral boat. And then Lucas is slain by Hostine Frey at the Red Wedding. Ooh. Oh, and Robb Stark is Red Wedding there as well, if you didn't know. And the Bracken surrender the Iron Throne and are welcomed, or surrender to the Iron Throne, are welcomed to the King's Peace, and they attack the Blackwoods, who refuse to yield along with Sir Brendan Tully at Riverrun and Lord Jason Mallister at Seaguard. Lord Jonas Bracken besieges Raventree, and it is later revealed that a dozen men were killed at the Red Wedding. So a dozen Bracken men. So yeah, Jonas lost a dozen of his kin at the Red Wedding before he surrendered. So talk crap about Jonas surrendering. I think he totally was in the right. But yeah. I don't know. I've been thinking about Jonas Bracken a lot today because I did a video for it. But I honestly think that there is zero betrayal there. He waited until Robb Stark was dead. They lost. He has lost all of his, all these people, all of his kin. His place was burned down. His daughter got assaulted by Gregor Clegane. He has suffered so much that I don't blame him for, right after Robb died, of pledging fealty to the Iron Throne. I don't blame Jonas for that. But I mean, if he would have did it, right before the Red Wedding and was a part of the Red Wedding, that's one thing. But that's not what happened. He lost a dozen people there. But
yeah, there's lots of betrayal. He was not part of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider what he did wrong. And if anything, I would consider what Tytos is doing wrong, because there's no way that you're going to survive, and you're literally forcing all those people in your castle to suffer from a 6-month siege where they're eating nothing but roots and rats. Why? Yeah. You're not going to win. Why? Why are you letting all your people suffer? I think Tytos is the jerk here. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, that tracks to me.
Where do you guys stand? I should have asked this right away. Like, are you more of a Blackwood or a Bracken? And now that we've made it this far, has it changed for you, or what are you actually thinking?
I'm Team Blackwood and hasn't really changed, but like both of them are clearly wrong for having a centuries-long feud. Like, you don't get to be a part of a centuries-long feud if your family is a bunch of very great noble people, right? Like, if one side was a bunch of angels, they would have found a way to stop feuding.
Yeah, and if you just like think about how many non-Blackwoods and Brackens have to die because you guys have a feud over nothing. Like, you jerks.
Yeah. Yeah, my opinion has not changed. Both parties are morons. Both parties are morons. And honestly,
are we talking politics or talking Blackwoods and Bracken? Sorry, keep going.
When they tried, like, I don't know, the third time to fix it with a marriage, you know, through the king, and it didn't work, then the king should have just wiped both houses out. Not like genocide necessarily, but like cut the lines off. You know what I mean? And like, neither one of you gets it now. Okay,
put someone else.
Neither one of you gets to be lords anymore. Yeah, you're gonna give half of both of your lands to this guy,
or exile, like kind of like what happened with the Manderleys. Like the Manderleys got to live, the Manderleys got to stay powerful, but they were no longer warring with the Peaks. Like it did solve that problem.
What? You know? What if we took the Blackwoods and Brackens and we pushed them somewhere else?
Yeah. Exactly.
Not both of them.
yeah, that's the problem. The Blackwoods are bikini bottoms, the Brackens the big worm, and then at the end it just falls on them anyway. Just like, no.
It's funny that you went there, because after you said it, I was thinking about the episode of Simpsons where the entire town was all one big garbage heap. And they don't have a way to fix it, so they just moved all the houses like 6 miles to the west and just started Springfield over here. Just left all the garbage.
It's a reasonable solution to a problem.
It's pretty great. And then he's like, they're driving down the highway like houses, and he's like arguing with Marge. He's like, I'm just gonna go to Moe's, and then he just hops over to the Moe's building like that's driving next to it. It's classic.
It's like if a bedroom has enough storage in it, eventually it becomes a storage room. You're like, yeah, that's the storage room now.
I felt that about our last
the bed.
House. We were so ready to move like into a bigger space, because like we were just stuck in a small town home, and like I felt like I don't think my wife's a hoarder, but I felt like she was, just because we did not have a lot of room and everything became a shelf. Yeah. Oh my God. That is not where we're at here, and at least for I hope at least a year this house doesn't get cluttered. Like I like that I have a big space finally. Not that you guys can see it, because I'm still in the basement up against the wall. Nothing has changed, just a cooler wall.
Are you eventually gonna be able to fit cool things on the rocks behind you? That's
so there are a couple flat rocks, but none of them are directly behind me.
Okay.
I mean,
I was gonna say there's like 1 or 2 spots I feel like maybe you could put stuff.
So if I do this, you can see I can easily put a beer on this one.
Trance.
Yeah.
Take
But,
it easy.
And then further way in the corner, there's a really flat one.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a lot of reception for the rock wall. So I think it went good. Oh, I was going to ask a question for you and everybody in the chat. So you guys got 14 people in the chat. I want all you guys to sound off. You guys have been very quiet lately. And this is about when a character that I'm covering dies. So if I'm covering a character and they die, I usually play this.
Poochie's dead!
So I thought I was going to stop doing it, but I ended up getting a really good reception for it, so I started doing it again. Or should I play that or this?
He did.
That's what
That's under which context?
When the character who I'm covering dies.
Oh, the second one. The second one.
Yeah.
You're like, he ain't really dead?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think I got.
What's wrong with you? I say you. He did.
Yeah, that one.
All right, you like that one more than the other one? You like the what's wrong with you? I say you, he did. You like that over Poochie's dead?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. No one in the comments cares. All right. It was weird how many comments I got about Poochie's dead that people liked, and I was gonna stick with it for a while, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do this one during the next one and see if I get any comments about it. I should have brought that up earlier when there was more people here, but we got caught up talking about Bloodraven for way too long. We have a feast and dance left. So whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Dead soldiers bearing colors of both House Bracken and House Blackwood have washed up on the Quiet Isle, and according to the elder brother, they are buried next to each other. So that's like symbolic and stuff. I don't know. Nick Grimes said Poochie's dead is pretty strong. Oh, Moon Man. Now you show up. You have the link. I'm not gonna let you just shame yourself, man. Come in here so I can shame you for you. All right.
It's not even 1 a.m. over here, bro. Come on.
And it's like 9 o'clock where he is, almost 10. With the surrender of River Run, Raventree remains the last Stark. Yeah. All right. Now you're interrupting me, Moon Man. Unforgivable. All right. Yeah, so Raventree becomes the last Stark loyalist stronghold. Lord Tytos Blackwood refuses to surrender Jonas Bracken, leading Sir Jaime Lannister to attempt to resolve the siege of Raventree. Jaime Lannister successfully negotiates the surrender of Tytos and takes Hoster Blackwood as a hostage. Jonas Bracken desires to gain the... Here we go, guys. This is everything Jonas wants. The east bank of Widow's Watch from Crossbow Ridge to Rutting Meadow, Grindcorn Mill, Lord's Mill, Muddy Hall, the Ravishment, Battle Valley, Old Forge, Buckle, Black Buckle, Cairns, Claypool, Mudgrave, Waspwood, Lorgren's Wood, Green Mill, Missy's Teats, and Honeytree, and all of its hives. But Tytos only agrees to Woodhedge, Crossbow Ridge, Buckle, Lord's Mill, Honeytree, and then Jaime orders Jonas to also send one of his daughters to serve Queen Regent Cersei Lannister in King's Landing. Hoster accompanies Jaime to Pennytree, where the Lord Commander goes missing, and where they talk about teats. There you guys go. Let's take this slide down. That's the last slide. So like I said, I just re-listened to that chapter, and maybe I just really need to just re-listen to the books, but like every time I do a chapter for a, like, you go back and just listen to one specific chapter for a character, like almost every time I step away going, God, that chapter's really good. That's one of the better chapters. Yeah. But I feel like they're just all really fucking good.
So a lot of people say the Bran chapters are weaker than others, and I've just recently read or like re-listened to a bunch of the Bran chapters in order, and every chapter at the end of it I'm like, oh, this is so good. Why do people say that Bran has weak chapters? Like, all of these are pretty good.
I think the Bran weak chapters are the traveling chapters. Specifically the like up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill, run into a burly, up a hill, down a hill. But that's small. That's a small little hunk. Like all of his Winterfell chapters in Clash are fucking great. Yeah. Like Harvest Feast. You want to talk about like that chapter is so good. Dude. I just re-listened to that one because I covered Moore's Umber and Horsebane Umber. How am I forgetting his name? It's not Hoster. That's why I'm screwing it up. What's Horsebane's first name?
Oh, I don't know.
God, that's messed up that I can't remember off the top of my head. Because I literally just covered both of them. But anyways, I had to listen to Harvest Feast for that whole chapter. That chapter is so strong.
Yeah. Is that the one Is that the one where Manderley drops the line about Lady Hornwood? Oh, she was born a Manderley. Perhaps she would like to become one again. Thinking it's like, I want to marry my cousin. It's just like that's the silliest like way. Like the fact that he has a clever in-world way of pitching. I want to marry my cousin is just like a hilarious thing to me.
So
real quick, Horbane's real name was Hother.
It is Hother. It was just super close. I just got to it too.
Yeah.
But let me read a quote. I'm going to my Moore's Umber vid to read a Zac quote from the Harvest Feast. And this is back on Danelle Hornwood when they're all trying to court her.
All right.
So Moore's wants to court her. And he's like, I have the direct quote here. He goes, the great John is young, wolf, strong right hand. All know that to be true. Who better to protect the widow's lands than an Umber? And what an Umber better than me? So this is what Crowfood is saying. So then Maester Lewin says the lady is grieving. And then Moore says, I have a cure for grief under my furs.
Yep. That was another line that I was like, dude, that whole chapter was so funny. All the Northern Lords' ways of like propositioning to be the one to marry her were so funny. They're just like, I don't care that she's sad right now. Like,
he's like,
I don't care.
Oh, she's grieving her husband? Well, I got a penis.
Like, the other great line from that chapter that I loved was Bran. Someone makes a joke about Wyman Manderley being too fat for Lady Hornwood, and Bran is like, he knew that husband and wife had to sleep together, or he knew that a man slept on top of a woman once they were married, and he figured that someone sleeping underneath Lord Manderley would be very painful, or something like that. Like,
yeah.
Bran knew that once you're married, the man sleeps on top of the woman. That would be tough with Wyman.
God, I love innocent Bran. It's so good. Like George is so good at innocent Bran. I love how subtle he is about Bran. Always saying I'm almost a man grown when he's not even close. Yeah. Like from like age like 10, he's like, I'm almost 16. It's like, no, he's not. He's not even close. Like he always goes, I'm almost a man grown. Or when he like innocently checks out Mira. Like, he's like, look at her. Should I say that I love her out loud right now?
Also, it's just like when he first meets Mira, he's just like, yeah, she looks like a boy. She's like, yeah,
her
this
teeth
one looks
don't
like
look green.
Yeah, he's just like, this one looks like a boy. And then like 4 chapters later, he's in a cave and she's the only girl within 10 miles. He's like, I'm in love with this girl. Actually, I'm in love with her. Should I tell her?
I just realized why you like the Harvest Feast. That's the Pact of Ice and Fire.
That too, yes.
Yeah, which is I know one of your favorites. It's funny now if you break down individual chapters, and I've thought about this a lot because I definitely have least favorites, and I have ones that I do skip, and I hate that I do it, but literally I hate. There's one that I just find pointless once you've gone through it, and I know I've talked to you about it, but it's Valamir Sixskins. I just don't see the point in doing that one twice because it's like a super long chapter, and it's just kind of really anguishing. Like it's very, like it makes me feel gross. And then of course the Arya.
Honestly, dude, that chapter is so good though.
It's but it just goes on. All right, I'm glad you like it. I liked it the first time I went through, but literally the last couple times I've gone through the books, I'm just like, I'm just gonna jump it. But Arya's chapter in Harrenhal, where Cheswick tells the story about what they did with the Millers or the Alehouse daughter. I skipped that one because it's just so grotesque and so messed up, and I have a kid and I don't need it in my head. So those chapters are the only, like those are 2 that I consistently skip. But I think when it comes to like best chapters where I can literally go back and listen to them, it's so messed up, but like Bran and Feast, or I'm not messed up, but it's so weird, but it's Brienne chapters and Feast. Like I can just go listen to all Brienne chapters in a day and I'm pretty happy. Like, cause all of Nimble Dick stuff. And of course the Broken Man speech, I think is the best written thing in the books. I think it is the most important, in my opinion. Like, I think that is, like, he accidentally spilled the thesis, like he accidentally made the subtext text once. Like, and I love it. But yeah.
Yeah.
You got favorite chapters?
I mean, Bran 3, Dance with Dragons is great. Bran at the Night Fort is great. Melisandre chapter is really good because it's just such a. I remember the first time like turning the page and seeing Melisandre had a chapter being like, oh, wait a minute, we're gonna get to be in Mel's head, and then you get in her head and you realize like, oh wait, she's not like she's just trying to save the world. She's doing her best to save the world, and she thinks this is the best thing that she can do. And she's also kind of
so earnest.
At the
you find out how earnest she is. Yeah,
because I assumed she was a manipulator, and she is not. She is. I'm trying to do what I think is the best, and she is Davos. She's advising Stannis in the way that she thinks is the best.
She's always gave Davos so much respect too.
Yeah,
like it's weird how much she does. Yeah,
she saves his son for like, and when she knows he will never give her credit for it, she's just like, well, he's a good person, and this is the least I can do, even though he fights against me and wants me dead. Like
Davos tries to kill Melisandre. Melisandre only had to tell Stannis once, go kill him, and she doesn't.
Yeah, right.
And then he makes him hand, and Mel doesn't buck. She knows that he'd be a good hand. And I'm glad you brought me back to Davos, because also Clash Davos chapters are uber good too. Those are some good. Actually, all Davos. I think like if we want to break down POVs, like who are your favorite? Like not because of the character themselves, but like the story in which you get. I think like Brienne, Davos, and Bran, and like I would consider. It's so messed up to say, but I would consider Arya actually just a little weaker, and it's only because of how much downtime in Arya chapters there are. But because I love Arya. And Sansa, surprisingly, going back and listening to a lot of the Vale chapters, I like all of Elaine's stuff from Dance, or is it Feast? But whatever, the Elaine chapters, like when she meets Miranda Royce going down to the Gates of the Moon, like that's another really strong chapter. Like as much as I like Arya more than I like Sansa, I think Sansa chapters are oddly better. But
it's been a minute since I've gone over a lot of Arya and Sansa stuff.
I want you to check out the Vale, and I've been telling you this, but I think if you want to find, and you and David Lightberger talked about it a little bit, but if you want to talk Weirwood symbolism and Old God symbolism, the Andal Kingdom of the Vale is chocked full.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally have a door called the Moon Door that is made of weirwood that people fly out of. Like, hello.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of weird shenanigans going on there for sure.
Wait. Do you think that people used to actually fly out of that door?
No. The reason why fly is important to Weirwood symbolism is because Bran flies, right?
Okay.
Like it's him flying as well when he falls, but it's what Bloodraven says to him of, you won't walk again, but you will fly. It's the warging of ravens, and it's moving through time and soaring through time and space.
That is probably like true, but also just on the literal, like, well, I'm thinking like they did have legends of, didn't the old like first kings flew around on giant birds,
giant birds? Yeah, they were.
Now I'm wondering,
knights.
like, how big is the Moon Door? Is it wide enough for them to? Is that the door they rode the birds out of? Like,
right, and unlike the show, it's not pointed straight down.
Right, it's a literal doorway in the wall.
Yeah,
in the side.
Door.
Yeah. So like actually,
cool.
Flying your bird out of there makes a lot of sense. So yeah, they literally might have flown out.
Well, they're all the Falcon Kings. Like there's so much bird symbolism too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder if like someone's gonna go to get executed later on, and they're gonna fly instead.
Well, there we go. There's your David Lightbringer right from Christie. The dragons from the moon, right? The dragons hatching from the moon is what is his big thing, and this is the moon door, right?
Yeah.
Not much. There's a little bit of dragon symbolism with a dragon literally going there during the Dance of Dragons, but like, is there any other dragon symbolism of anyone finding a dragon there besides possibly Sheep Stealer? But like, I don't think in the lore you really hear about.
Not really. It's more the Falcons, and then dragons are just able to take advantage of the same thing because they're better than Falcons. They're just like, well, we're bigger fire-breathing versions of the things this castle was built for, so we can take it over if we want to.
Still don't understand why they didn't ride them all the way to Mordor.
Yeah. Because
eagles aren't a taxi service, guys.
Because eagles aren't until they are. Like, what do you mean? They are at the end. What are you talking about? Just 3 movies of walking. That's all they do. Sorry, now I'm just going Clerks.
Oh, they fucked up the Hobbit so bad in the movies.
Movie 2.
Oh God, the Hobbit movies were sad, dude. I was so into the Hobbit movies as they're singing the Misty Mountains song, and then like everything after that point in the trilogy just fucking sucks. Like, I was so down up until.
Dude,
that
I had
point.
to go back. I don't remember which one it is of the animateds, but I had to go back and watch the animated version. Oh, it would be the Hobbit, obviously. So I had to go back and watch the animated Hobbit, like to get the taste out of my mouth.
Yeah. I have not been able to do Lord of the Rings yet. I have attempted. It's really hard for me to get out of the Shire. I haven't yet. Every time I'm like, all right,
the books or the movies?
Need to do it. The books.
Are you talking about The Hobbit?
No, I'm talking about Fellowship of the Ring. Every time I ever try to listen to them, I literally get stuck with the Brandon books of the Barleycorns and the Harleycorns and the Gnarlycorns.
He drags a lot in the Shire.
Skip a few chapters because it took me. I read the Lord of the Rings trilogy like 6 times when I was in 6th grade, and I could not get into The Hobbit. I tried to start The Hobbit 4 or 5 times until I finally skipped.
I was told do Hobbit second, or I mean after.
Do the Hobbit after. Yeah. But I had to skip the first few chapters because he spends the first couple chapters physically describing everything about hobbits and the Shire and everything, and it was just so boring. Once I skipped those chapters, it was fine from there. Well, so you might have to do the same thing with Fellowship.
Knowing it didn't matter, where it was like, oh, and there's this huge feud between this Hobbit and this Hobbit, and they fought over these rivers, and I'm like, I don't give a. I know that this is about like.
I've seen the movie. They skipped the first 12 chapters. Tolkien, what the fuck are you doing?
In the movie, he gives the ring to Frodo, and Frodo leaves. And I thought that was gonna happen. I made it all the way to that, and he's like, the ring's gonna go to Frodo, and Frodo gets the ring. And then he hangs out for like 30 more fucking years.
Yep.
And I was like,
we got a few decades.
12 years, I thought.
12, okay, 12, but still. Go. If I don't call my mom in a week, she gets pissed. you take 12
But
years
it's significant because it's significant though, because when Gandalf comes back 12 years later, Frodo really hasn't aged. The reason that Samwise keeps calling him Mr. Frodo is because he's actually a generation below Frodo. Frodo's that much older than him. So
wait, Sam is that much younger than Frodo?
Yeah, from what I understand.
It's
that
weird
makes
that
sense.
they entered a relationship when there's that big of an age gap.
Also, I do have to agree with the chat here that I find the Hobbit was way easier. Like the last time I read the Hobbit, I started reading it like to go to bed, and I just read the whole thing. Like I was just like falling. I wasn't falling asleep, which was already the issue. But I was like, well, I'm just gonna read this, and then the next thing I know, it was like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna finish this, I guess now.
No, I'm gonna see what.
My favorite thing to listen to though when going to sleep is Bilbo's birthday party. Apparently, there's a whole genre out there called slice of life, where it's just like things like that, scenes out of a fantasy world where it's just like Bilbo's birthday, and like that's it. Nothing bad happens. There's no adventure. It's just this is what life looks like in this cool little society, and that's that.
I'm gonna click clips, but I don't know what some of these are, so let's hope they're not
Noah
awful.
Vanderhoff. Nice name. Not.
Okay, that's just Wayne's. I don't know what I have. And then here we got some Dogma.
I was an artist, stupid.
All right. I don't know why I saved these. I don't really know what I got going on here. I just want to make sure. Oh, and here I saved this one for you, Russ.
Cause he's fuck ugly.
Oh, sorry. I thought
Thanks.
he said he was beautiful. I'm sorry. I thought he said he's a really good looking man. It's the wrong clip. It's the wrong clip. Damn it. I have gotten that adorable little laugh out of you like 3 times. Oh my god. I've been flirting with you tonight because I don't have Viper to flirt with.
That's how you know how high I am.
Anytime you laugh at me.
The more I giggle, the higher I am.
All right, well, this one's for you.
Loathe entirely.
There you go.
Well, yeah, that's most of my contact.
That's your spirit animal.
Sure, if that weren't cultural appropriation.
Spirit animals? Oh, okay. It took me a second. Yes, it kind of is. All right. I didn't even think about it. That's the
I go with soul creature, but I don't know if that's far enough away to count.
Maybe.
But
I don't know. How much longer do you guys want to chat? We hit our three hours.
I mean,
I love your Stenson hat, dude. Did you catch my my Nick Cave lookalike joke right when you came in? Because I thought that was funnier than
missed it.
Yeah. I mean, I still, I guess it isn't funny, but I still think it is.
Yeah.
We made it another stream where we didn't get to play the mystery clip. The topic did not come up again. It's been like
one of these times.
Now. Yeah, one
is
of
this
these
like secret
times.
word type of deals?
Yeah.
Well, it's a joke that I don't want to ruin because I feel it fits too well, and I don't want to shoehorn it. But it has yet to come up.
So we're being asked here: are we Team Blackwood or Bracken? That's probably a good topic to like wrap up on. Having seen everything, I'm
having
still Team
seen
Blackwood.
everything. I think I am just barely. I'm leaning. I'm a centrist, but I lean Bracken, and I think it's only because I think Bloodraven is Satan. I think he is probably the most evil person we meet in the entire series. And you know, the Brackens aren't.
I'm approaching this one, I think, like the typical undecided voter in that I didn't pay attention to all of the complex things that you just told me about each of the two families, and in fact, I just like
go over them again
the vibes of the Blackwoods better because I like weirwood trees, and therefore I refuse to consider that perhaps that could be wrong.
So you weren't paying attention to the debate. You just like donkeys more.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I just like weirwood trees. I think weirwood trees are neat.
Yeah, on this side of the wall, I tend to trust worshippers of the old gods more.
Even though I know that the old gods might be evil, I still like them more.
Yeah, but
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but
and again, this is south of the wall. Once you start getting north of the wall, you don't want to tangle with old god believers.
Horses.
But as far as Bracken versus Blackwood, neither one. If I was their king, I would just I would take everything away from both of them for being bad children.
I would send them both into timeouts.
No, seriously. And if I were an unallied lord and the two of them were like going to war with each other and they both wanted me to like come help them, I would sit it out. I'd be like, no.
You take two of their kids when they're babies, right? It's like, no, you have a baby, right? And then you mix them up. And then you go, all right, this is in charge of you now. It's like, wait, but which one is that?
And then you ask them, then you tell them, okay, now we're gonna cut the babies in half, and you see which one gets upset.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you,
that's
how you
cut
do
them in
it.
half, and you count the rings. Wait, what are we talking?
But
about?
no, if I do kind of agree with
I just watched an episode of Family Guy where they couldn't remember how old Meg was, and they were joking about cutting off one of her legs and counting the rings.
It's pretty good.
I do agree with your point, though, that like if I were playing Crusader Kings and the Blackwoods and the Brackens were acting up in that way, I would just like take the land away and give it to two of my bastards. Like,
yeah,
you just find someone else to be in charge of this land. Honestly, just give it to one so that they stop fighting.
Well,
actually, both of these are united now.
I think also maybe I'm a bit of a contrarian. Maybe that's where a lot of the Bracken love goes, because I want to bring this back up. All known Brackens in history, all known frickin' Blackwoods, right? Now let's do this again. Yeah. Modern Blackwoods, modern Brackens, again, way less. I feel like George loves Blackwoods more. Therefore,
yeah,
I'm a contrarian, and I'm now starting to lean Bracken. I'm not going to change my name to frickin' Bittersteal, although he is one of my favorite commenters. Thank you, as always. But
that is one of the cooler names as well.
Yeah. Still, I also love the idea when I did somebody pitched it, but when I did the small council for Damon Blackfyre won my What If Small Council forum of him legitimizing, of course, he's already legitimate, but Bittersteal is his hand of the king, but he goes by True Steel. I really like that. Aegon True Steel, House True Steel. I was like, yeah, that's actually really awesome. I also think it's a little messed up that Damon's like, I don't know who started the conversation. Like, I want to know who started this conversation. Like, Aegor and Daemon are hanging out one day, and they're like, hey, maybe you should, take the throne from your brother, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, so do you want to marry my daughter? Like they're the same age. Daemon's daughter is younger, has to be, right? And it's just like, how weird is it that Bittersteal married Daemon's daughter? Like, that's an odd conversation to have. Because I have a best friend, and I'm never like, so...
Right.
In 18 years, that's just like a really gross conversation.
It is like nice that our lives are removed from having to have politics be involved in marrying our children off.
Yeah, but also
that's a neat
I mean, there are a lot of cultures around the world that do arranged marriages.
Yeah, it's neat that we don't. It was neat that we don't do that.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Although I don't know. It could solve a lot of headaches.
Yeah.
My best friend. So as I said, like my wife's we're pregnant right now. My wife's pregnant, and we're gonna have a boy. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but we're gonna have a boy. And one of my best friends from high school, Brandy, is pregnant, and she's gonna have a girl. And I immediately thought join houses. Like it was my first thought was like, we can join our houses finally. Yeah. Like you never would marry me. So now we can.
I have a son. You have a daughter. Let's join our houses.
Let's join our houses. Now let's look at your dead sister for a bit. Look at her all big and stone.
God damn it.
I'm sorry, but that's how this thing goes. All right, we just travel along.
No, I wasn't goddamning at you.
Good.
I just
shit. I had somewhere to go with that.
Were you thinking about when
I just had a realization
Lyanna Stark
that
is brought back to life as a giant stone?
No, but that really tragic line that's so great that isn't from the books, where Robert and Cersei are having that conversation. He's like, horrible truth. I can't even remember what she looked like.
Yeah, fuck.
I had never put together this, but he has just seen a statue of exactly what she looked like. That means he's such an alcoholic, he can't remember.
And he even claims then that the statue doesn't do her justice.
Yeah, that's true too. But in my head, I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, it's tragic that it's been like 15 years and he can't remember. But it's also like, oh no, he's so much of an alcoholic he can't remember a few weeks back. Like I saw her a few weeks back.
The way I sort of read it was when he said they didn't do her a good likeness, it's because he didn't recognize her.
Oh.
And then, you know, he was hoping the reason he wanted to go down to the crypt so quickly was because he'd forgotten what she looked like. And then he looked at her face and she was like, that's not what she looked like. And I still can't remember what she looked like.
That's probably true. Yeah.
It is weird how absolutely good King Robert is in the show. Like, it's like
top tier
book Robert is awful. He is not sympathetic, in my opinion. He's just an awful drunk.
He's a bad
really
king.
Bad dad. He's a really bad king. He's a really bad dad. He's a really bad husband. He's a bad friend. But the performance is so good in the show that you look past all of that in the show, and it's all just because of what's the guy's name? Do you got it memorized?
Mark Addy.
Mark Addy. Everyone knows Knight's Tales. Mark Addy. Yeah, he's so good in that too. Right with Alan Tudyk and Paul Bettany and Heath Ledger. Wow, how do I have that? I have that. It's probably like 20 years. But yeah, no, the freaking scene, and I know I probably bring it up every time we talk about Robert Baratheon in the show, but the War Stories scene, which is a show only, but that monologue is so good when he's talking about he killed the Tarly boy, and if he would have just been a good little lad and just stayed on the side of the battle, he's like, and then his wife would hate him and his children would be ingrates, and then he'd be waking up 3 times to piss in a bowl. Why? And it's so stupid good. And then that scene ends with what's the Mad King's final words, and that's the first hint in the show when he goes the same thing he was saying all day: burn them all.
It's so freaking good that it's just like, damn,
what happened?
D&D, if y'all would have just brought that energy to the late seasons,
heck, kitty,
you'd have landed
because
it.
That's all
If
new.
there was
that's all they could expand, they just couldn't create.
Well, no, they could. Yeah, exactly. But if there was one scene that they had taken down, because I think they were eager to prove themselves in season 1, and they would write shit like that and really take the source material seriously. And by seasons 7 and 8, they were just like, no, like, we're the ones in charge here. We don't need to prove ourselves. People need to come to us and get our
Yeah. What do they know? Look what we made.
They were this little tiny writer's room of sniffing their own farts, where in the beginning, I think they were trying to impress people with no, look at how good we understand the characters. We can write this brilliant scene between Robert and Cersei, and these brilliant Varys and Littlefinger scenes that give people who read the books more of the characters.
Yeah, more. Because even Littlefinger
captures them correctly.
Even Littlefinger is way more expanded in the show. You kind of forget that because I add so much of Littlefinger to book Littlefinger, but book Littlefinger is very mysterious. You don't really know anything about him still.
Yeah, because so many of his best scenes were show only, and they were so well done, and it's just
even that Chaos as a Ladder is a show only scene or live.
Yeah. So much of his stuff is. Are seasons 7 and 8 really that bad? Still haven't read the books.
Yes,
I think even without reading the books, they stand up as bad just because of what I just said. There's nothing that compares to Robert and Cersei just talking, and in any of the late seasons, and that just says it all, right? There's no scene that feels like that much care went into it.
I'm gonna state right now, in my opinion, because I'm a book fan, parts of season 2 and seasons 5 and 6 suck because I'm a book fan. Those, I'm like, why'd you fuck up Karth? And then 5 and 6, it's where's the King's Moot? Oh, you're doing it later. Damn, where is this? All these storylines. So post Red Wedding is the end of the first major arc, is the first 3 books or the first 4 seasons, right? Saying this right to you, Savvy Sosa. And then the next arc starts. So in the book, you get a bunch of new POV characters, right? You get all these new Greyjoys that they didn't even bring in. You get Victorian Greyjoy, Aaron Damphair. All these are POV characters. Asha becomes a much bigger character, and then you bring in all these other POVs. You get the Dorne plot, and it moves in all these new storylines and expands. And now you're starting to care about them. And the Starks are almost like afterthoughts now. Like you get so little Sansa and Arya later on because you're too busy following, the Greyjoys are almost the main characters in the later books. But they didn't do any of that shit, right? Like they decided we're not going to bring in Aegon, the young Griff. We're not going to bring in any of that stuff. We're not going to give Tyrion his arc.
Imagine,
Yeah, that's 5 and 6 is what I'm saying, and then I'm done. But I'll toss this to you, Michael, really quick. But that's why I hate 5 and 6. I hate 7 and 8 because they're shit. It has nothing to do with the books at that point. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Or what I was gonna say too is just like, imagine like what you're saying with all those new characters. If they had approached the post Red Wedding story the way they approached the early seasons, where they were like, we are going to prove ourselves with these characters, and they had given us more Doran than we had ever gotten in the books, and they were well written, good Doran scenes. We would have fallen in love with it all over again. Everyone would do it so in for 12 seasons of good Game of Thrones if they would have cared enough to expand the way they expanded Littlefinger and Varys and the way they expanded Robert and Cersei. But instead, they just made every character that was introduced post Red Wedding worse instead of making them better.
Well, look how much they
worse. Doran was worse. All the Sand Snakes were worse.
So of course, me complaining about butchering Dorne is so contrived at this point. Of course, they completely fucking butchered.
They
Dorne.
just stopped trying. They would say they.
It's like, can I get really? It's almost worse of what they done the other ones because like Dorne they like mercy killed, right?
Yes,
but Marine pisses me off more. Like they don't do the Myrni's plot. The Myrni's knot is gone.
Right.
Gone. They don't fucking do it at all. Yazgaz, or whatever his name is, the giant whale, is a skinny little dude, and like does it in they don't do any of that. It's all the class struggle is taken out of Marine, and then they kill Barristan just to fucking piss me off.
That's the one thing that I think there's a decent chance Barristan dies in the books in that same.
Russ said something in the comments we can put up since we never let him talk.
I don't think it's that unreasonable that Barristan dies before Dany gets back to Westeros, and honestly, like being surrounded in an alleyway and killed as a Great Knight stands up to me. Like the fandom got very mad at that one. But
yeah, they deserved it.
How else are you going to die? He's not going to die in a sword fight. He's going to die getting surrounded by 8 dudes in an alleyway. That's how you.
That's
how
his like death in the show was pointless. It didn't serve pointless. The story.
No, but like that's a different like. It was not uniquely horrible within season 7 and 8. Like they weren't serving the story with most things they were doing at that point.
Yeah.
My point is the fandom who is pissed off for the reasons of like, no, there's no way it goes this way in the books. He's going to have a way bigger role in the books. I'm like, I think he might
die
just
that
die
way
in
the
this
books.
battle.
You can pitch to me. It's tragic because Barristan Selmy, the amazing knight who can win every tourney, who can single-handedly take down fucking Duskendale in his sleep, that this badass gets mobbed in a fucking alley with a bunch of losers with daggers, but because he's outnumbered, because he's not used to fighting this way, he dies.
Yeah.
You can pitch to me the tragedy of that, but I want you to realize I just did it better than the fucking show did it. I just made it mean more in 2 seconds of talking, which they don't do. Again, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. This is actually me agreeing with you, that it's not about what they did. It's about the fucking execution. Same with the bells. You can have Dany go evil. That's fucking fine.
Yep.
Just do it right.
That's my only point. No, I fully agree that like that whole plot line was pointless and bad, but also it's just like I do kind of think that the book version of Barristan dying before Dany goes back to Westeros, and that being the tragedy of like, oh, had she had Barristan with her, she'd have had more legitimacy, and people would have known that like, oh, we can trust, because like that's a big thing that people were looking at is like, where is Barristan going to pop up? Who is he going to support? Because the common folk will respect Barristan the Bold throwing his weight behind Renly or Robb Stark or whoever he would have shown up with. And so when he shows up with Dany, it would have been a huge thing. And if he dies because he's trying to lead some campaign for her to hold Meereen, rather than just freaking going to Westeros where he would have been actually useful, like, and then that matters in the end, then no one trusts Dany. She has no legitimacy. And Varys and Illyrio might even be like, where is Barristan? We sent you Barristan, and you were supposed to meet with Aegon, and you were supposed to have all the dragons, all the claimants together with Barristan the Bold and all the legitimacy, and you guys all ruined it. Like, I kind of think that might be why Barristan dies, roughly when he died in the show.
If we want to make it tragic, which of course is George, so I'm not taking that out. I'm just saying if tragedy is the goal, and I want Moonman to know. I don't know how much longer we're talking. If you got nothing going on, you can jump in. Plus, I do have clips for Moonman that
I can't stay too much longer. But if you wanted to tag me in or tag me out or whatever, but I got maybe another 10 minutes. Tops.
I gotta put it. That's my Moonman quote.
There you go.
Rick and Morty Moonman stuff. And then I have this. All right. A lot of 5 a.m. at work on my phone comes through.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't realize how much of like of dead brain brainstorming is the clip.
Oh no, I do so much dead brain brainstorming. It's the best type. Like, dude, you have that thing where you just like you get past being tired at a certain point, and then your brain works better for just funny shit. Like,
I work 12-hour graveyard shifts. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no.
We call it 5 a.m. We call it 5 a.m. talks. We're like, we're all energetic right when we get there. Most of us are. We're a little grumpy because we're really tired. And then like noon or midnight hits, and it gets worse. And then like 2 a.m. we hit a little bit of we're doing pretty good. 3 we're doing good. 4 and 5 we're all goofy. We have no filter anymore. Somebody just brings up like, had a really good poo today. Like, like we're just talking about nonsense.
I have had times where I like write down just like a bunch of stuff like as I'm falling asleep, and I wake up and it's just gold. And other times I wake up, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever written. Why did I write this down?
I a lot of times if I don't have a poll, because I do quizzes in the morning. So I got you. I'm sorry, guys. Because I do quizzes at 7 a.m. And if I don't have one ready, you know how many one I open? I'm like, I don't know, man. Who's the current Lord of Duskendale? And then I'll like wake up and I'm like the first comment is like just pointing out all my typos, and I have to immediately just start because you can't edit polls on YouTube, and it sucks because I don't want to edit it for dubious reasons. I want to edit it because I'm horrible at typing.
You don't want to make your audience look bad like that. Yeah, that's very funny. That like the idea of editing a poll where you're like, vote on this, and then you turn around and be like, "Whoa, guys, what are you saying?"
That happened. That used to be a classic prank on Facebook, where you would say something. You'd post like a picture of a puppy, and you'd wait until a whole bunch of people upvoted it, and then you'd replace the picture with something like horribly racist. And now you've got all your friends upvoting something,
is
terrible.
Is this cute? And it's like, why are they saying Stalin is cute?
Yeah.
It's messed up. Yeah, after you said it, I'm feeling it too, and I think we did pretty good. But I don't know, the chat's still going strong, so it's hard to like dump on you guys, and you guys are all still hanging out. But
just tag Moonman in, man.
I gave him the chance. He doesn't want to take the hot tag.
All right.
Also, I got a Jim Cornette shirt coming. Is the other wrestling shirt I have.
Nice
to wear. Yeah, because I've been listening to a lot of Cornette's podcasts. It's super good.
Oh yeah.
If you don't, get into it. If you haven't got into it, it's really good. He's hilarious. He's one of the funniest people I've ever.
Does what's his name from WCW have a podcast?
Which one?
Vince Russo.
Oh my God! I sure hope not.
Oh, I would love to listen to him
so bad.
spout.
Cornette just calls him shit stain whenever he gets brought up because Cornette hates him.
Yeah.
Cornette has a lot of just very specific, just him nicknames for people. Like he'll call Seth freaking Rollins, Seth Franklin Rollins, and now I can only think of that. But yeah, he has a lot of like weird nicknames. I love your water bong vape. It is so metal. That's all I'm saying. That's all I got for you. You're the only dude who's like a vape, but can it be a water bong?
Well, it's a dry herb vape, so it is.
It's so hippie.
Slightly different.
It's a dry herb vape. You don't understand, Mark.
Well, it's just that there's flour in here instead of
it's Earl
flavored
Grey.
distillate.
It's Earl Grey vape.
The old style vape.
Okay, we're not mad, man. It's fine.
Before they just put everything in a nice flavored cart back when you had to like heat up flour just ever so slightly. It's one of those types.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
When we talked about Sopranos earlier, I was already playing Sopranos quotes. I'm rewatching it for the 1 billionth time, but this time I'm making my wife rewatch it for the first time, so she's already watched it. And
I have been trying to find anything past season 2 in the original 4:3 aspect ratio standard definition.
Good luck.
I've watched the first 2 seasons that way, and I love it. And I want to watch The Wire the same way, but I can't find.
Yeah, I wondered. Yeah, that sounds great. I am rewatching The Wire too, and it's weird because I normally do like The Wire and Sopranos like opposite parts of the year. And I haven't really done either for like 3 years, I think. So I think it was about time. And whenever you guys want to do a Wire podcast, I think I still think it would be really cool to do a walkthrough of the Wire, like do every episode, but have like 2 people on the stream who know everything about it, and then 2 people who are watching it for the first time to like kind of watch people's minds slowly blow up from the Wire. And then season 3 happens, and they're like, "Holy crap!" It's like, yeah, they're making drugs legal.
And then season 5 happens, and they're like, "What?" I love season 5.
I love season 5 too.
It is not a good season of The Wire.
It's not. It's still worth watching, but especially after season 4. Season 4 is so fucking good. And then it's like, all right. So season 2 of The Wire, I think, is actually one of its strongest. I think a lot of people just
I enjoy season 2 of The Wire.
I think it is. I honestly think because of it, the thesis statement of season 2 is more of the death of work, and when it brings in to that theme, and also showing the powers of gentrification and juxtaposing gentrification with dock workers losing their jobs and slowly turning to crime because you can't own a house in your own neighborhood anymore being legal. You have to turn to crime to buy a house in your own neighborhood. That is extremely important to the overall statement of The Wire. I think that it just wasn't what people expected because the first season's is very urban, and then the second season it comes out and you're following a bunch of white dudes at the docks, and I think it just rubbed people the wrong way. But if you look at it in the greatest picture, and I know too many of those people in real life, like Ziggy. I know too many Ziggies, so I loved it. Anyways, I'm sure
I know too many white mics.
Yeah, too many white mics. Michael said that he wants to leave in 10 minutes, and here I am just bullshitting about the Wire. We're not even talking about Bloodraven anymore. So you
oh, good. I'm mentally exiting the stream as you talk about the show that I haven't seen. So.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like I should have tried to keep you, and then instead I was like, let's talk about something.
I'm about to tap out and let you guys finish Wire chat.
No,
if you want.
We're good. Let's not do Wire talk. Let's get out of here. I don't want everybody to leave single. So if you're getting out of here, let's get out of here. Do you know what you're doing for Saturday, Michael?
I have a video that's what is the one that's coming out Saturday? I have two that I'm working on. The first one that's probably going to be coming out is probably going to be the one talking about like what's up with all these other creatures that are like the others, like the shrieking monsters near the Five Forts and the demons by the Shadow in Ashai, and like what. Probably gonna have that one come out first, talking about like how does that play into everything that I just talked about, with the others being like projections of people and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Are you gonna bring up the thing that came at night?
Not in that video. Not in that video.
It's so weird that they don't call that an other, and that makes me wonder why.
I know. It just sounds exactly like
it's clearly an other. So isn't
know.
it weird that they don't call it that? Because old man stories have others.
Are you talking about Melisandre's child?
No.
The Night Fort has a ghost story.
Old Night Fort ghost story of like 4 people see this thing and it kills 3 of them and the other one goes mad, and then like 100 years later, the thing comes at night again, but all of the boys who've seen them are all like behind it in chains or something.
They're all dead, shambling behind it. So it's just other stuff. It's just like the most others like ghost story you could write without using the word others, basically.
Yeah. And then what did you do last Saturday or last video?
So it's not even Saturdays anymore. I'm now one of those guys who just drops a video every once in a while when I'm done with it.
Yeah, but you dropped 2 monster other videos that were an hour and a half each. I thought because the thumbnails are so close, it came up and I was like, did he re-edit? And I didn't watch it right away.
I
saw that there were 2 and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then I went and watched it.
I was worried once they came out being very similar length. I'm like, well, I hope that people understand that this is a new video. But
the thumbnail still had the same White Walker like this, and it just the words were different.
Yeah. I almost put part 2, but like I know that doesn't actually help the clickability of the thing. It's better for you to click the video and be confused for 2 seconds until I tell you to go watch part 1 than it is for you to not click the video because it says part 2.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I considered that part 1 almost like your magnum opus. Like it looked like you really put a lot into that.
It took a minute. Thank you.
Good.
I think it was my best video combining a good theory with good presentation. So yeah, I was glad that one did
well. In your recent hangouts talking about similar things with David Lightbringer, like I feel like it's like really like you're kind of like
I'm now bringing it together.
Yeah.
So you can probably see like because you've watched a lot of my content, like you can see how like the last like year was like I was going like kind of point by point, laying a lot of the groundwork. So that now I can drop an hour and a half long video talking about like 10 different theories and how they kind of come together, and people won't be like, oh, you're insane. They'll be like, oh, no, I understand this because you told me about this 4 months ago and I kind of get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
So,
Rust, have you been working on much?
Nope.
You haven't seen anything for a while. And I know you're, when you have an idea, you do it. You're not a planner.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah, well, cool. Thanks for I threw the improv ball and you went nope, and you just spiked it. So let me pick that ball back up, and I'm gonna say tomorrow morning I have a video that I don't have high hopes for. It's my Simon Silvertongue video. So it fits what Bill Paxton said, not the other one, but when he said you're stewed, buttwad. I'm really mad that I didn't use that because Simon Silvertongue gets stewed. He gets put into a stew. So
yeah.
Buttwad. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. And then I want to say I'm trying to remember what my my Tuesday video is for next week. Let me look at my upcoming schedule. I'm with the move. My brain has been like, if I didn't have crap written down, everything would have fallen apart. And also, I apologize. I shouldn't say this at the beginning, but I apologize for my audio. The last couple, I lost my microphone in the move, and I had to get all new equipment. I still don't have a good mic yet, and I was using the one off these headphones for the first one or the first couple, and that's why it sounds like absolute shit. So I apologize to everybody about that. My Savage Sam Tarly remake is next Tuesday, and then I'm doing Rafford, Raff the Sweetling, a week from tomorrow. And you want to talk about a really good Winds of Winter sample chapter? Mercy is nuts good. But like when we're talking about chapters, like Mercy is kind of like low key gives. I don't. It's not better than Forsaken, but like it's up there. It gives Forsaken a run for its money. But I mean, Forsaken is the best chapter I think in the entire books, and it's a sample chapter. So. All right. Let's get out of here. You guys have anything you want to add besides peace?
No.
Nope.
I think I'm good.
All right.
Thanks for having me. Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Talk to you
Taco.
later.
I always
Talk to you
enjoy
later,
these
Rust.
streams.
Yeah, me too. Peace.
So yeah.